Well, people, here we are. We actually made it this far. We made it this far. Do you know what? I'll let a few people hop in the building. We'll get a few people in the chat and make sure, first and foremost, everything sounds a-okay. Get a few people in the chat, make sure. Yep, sounds perfect. So, we actually got here. We got to AJ versus Jake Paul. Believe there's only one more fight. So when I check this cards, like the blow by blow, all the fights that have been happening. There's only one more fight before the main event, which is interesting, which is Alicia Baumgardner. And Alicia Baumgardner is one of those female fighters that you can watch. She's very watchable for a female fighter. She's easy on the eye in terms of looks and her style. She's not got a put it like this. Sky Nicholson's easy on the eye, but her fighting style sure as hell isn't. Whereas Alicia Baumgardner is both. She's easy on the eye, as is her fighting style. So we have her. Then we have the main event, which is AJ. So we're in a good place. We're in a good place with regards running to this show. I reckon it's what time now? 2:30 UK time. So you're looking at most likely 10 rounds. They're obviously 2-minute rounds. So it'd be over. I reckon we could be on for. So what they were saying in the build up to this fight, certainly on, UK websites, on X, etc., they were saying that AJ versus Paul, we're looking at around about a kind of 3:30-ish ring walk time. And I reckon we're on for that. I reckon, regardless how this fight ends, whether it ends early or whether it goes, the full duration of the 10 rounds, they are only 2-minute rounds, bear in mind, that we're probably going to be on for a 3:30 ring walk time. And then obviously, if it's a 3:30 ring walk time, obviously it will be probably be done here by about 4:30. It'll probably be done by about 4:30. So we're not looking at a late night. I don't think we are anyway. We're not looking at too late a night, so I think we're okay. Let me just. Oh, you see, I am probably not going to be reading the chats tonight. Sorry, I will be reading the chats, but I probably won't be having them on screen because normally when I stream at home, it's not as easy. It's not as easy. So we get some people in the building. It says here there's currently 55 in the building. We're not even 3 minutes in. So we're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well. So if you could hit the like button because you want to get this live seen to by as many as we can. Kate Abdo, Layla Ali, Andre Ward, Lennox Lewis on the team, on the broadcast team. It's it's gonna be it's weird, right? The production on Netflix for these shows is honestly it's next level. Like when you look at this, it is next level production. What they are doing, it really is good. Elisa Baumgardner, yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. In terms of the main event, seriously, I don't think we're going to be here very long for the main event. I think that the how do I explain it? I said it, I think, in my final thoughts video that this to me, there's nothing about this show like AJ Paul that has a big fight feel to it, if that makes sense. Everything about this show has the feel of, how do I explain it? Has the feel of an event rather than a big show. So I'll give you an example, right? For AJ Dubois or Usyk Dubois, things like that. When we're waiting for the build up for that, you get the feeling that this is going to be, that this is a big fight. This is a big event. It's something special. It's something to behold. This, it just feels like meh. That's what it feels like. It just feels like this is just a big meh. It feels like it's an event more so than anything else. So yeah, I want to just get this fight over and done because if you remember when Netflix did, and I will never forget that watch along. That watch along started out fun, but by the time we got to the main event, which was Crawford versus Canelo, you may remember that. By the time we got to the main event, I think myself, the chat, I think most people watching on this side of the pond, we kind of checked out mentally. We kind of checked out mentally because the card was so late. The main card anyway was so late starting. To put it in context, I think the advertised ring walk, which was about 4 a.m. thereabouts, 4:30 a.m. I think that they had one of the main, like main fights done on the main show by that time. So you knew you were in for a long one. And then not only that, they still dragged out the run of the show. So all the production, all the trailers, all the pre-fight, whatever, they dragged that out to the point where it was about what, 6 a.m. Thereabouts before we got ring walks for Canelo Crawford. So for me, I was just like, I'm checking out mentally. So it wasn't fun. But I think that was more Dana White and Turkey just trying to milk whatever they can. I think with this, I'm hoping anyway that they'll just get a move on. That they'll just get a move on, which they don't seem to be doing because I watched Tyron Woodley versus Anderson Silva before going live. That ended a while ago now, and we are still waiting. I know it's always something I say that I always say it, that it's like I just love just getting the show on and just getting it over with. Not getting over with, but you know what I mean? Just getting everything moving. Just getting everything moving so we can just be like, right, here we go. We're into the main show. That's my whole big thing. That's my whole big thing. So as I said, 79 people in the building. There you go. We get a few. How many likes we on? 13 likes. So if you haven't already, I'm just gonna say I want to get this stream singing. Hit the like button if you could. I would greatly appreciate it. What time is the Jake fight? Good morning. Yeah, technically is morning over here, isn't it? It's what time? 20 minutes to 3 in the morning. Yeah, what time? That I reckon we're going to be early enough for the Jake Paul fight. I hope anyway. One would hope. What else is it? AJ. If AJ looks bad, then it's a fixed fight. Well, not necessarily. I mean, if AJ looks bad, then he's coming off the back of an injury. He's had a year and a bit out the ring, and he got the absolute living crap beat out of him last time around. It could genuinely just be that he's just shot to bits. That genuinely could be. Patiently waiting on hot news that Bumba Coley knocked out Jake Paul and sparring. Martin McCauley is an interesting one. I'm pretty sure a couple of months ago now, there was talk that he was back in camp and he was getting ready to train and that he had a fight or something lined up or news like that. And nothing. I mean, Martin McCauley fought in May and it didn't look good. I should have lost that fight against F.A. Jagba. And we've not heard a peep from him since then. Like, we've literally not heard a peep from him since then. We don't know what's going on. Liam, what time I need to sleep? I'm hoping that we'll be in the ring, although the longer they drag this out, the more I get worried. But I'm hoping we'll be in the ring by about 3:30. I hope they won't drag it out, and then we should be good to go. Jake Paul, or sorry, Mike Tyson, what am I talking about? Tired as well here, people. Simon Jordan claimed Tyson Paul Netflix, another 2 million subscribers, earning over $1 billion. Well, it's going to do well in the US. It's going to have a lot of people from the UK watching. It won't do as well as Mike Tyson because it's Mike Tyson, but it's going to do very well. Like, this is good. This right here is going to do better than Crawford Canelo, no doubt, 100 million%. I think AJ beats Fury now. I think it's unlikely, personally, that he beats Fury now. We need to see. Well, saying that, right? We can't really make an assessment, and even then, right? I was going to say we can't make an assessment until we see them. We really won't know until they face each other. I tell you why. Because we heard all this talk a couple of years ago. AJ Wilder, Day of Reckoning, prime example, right? AJ was on the comeback trail, and that's 2023. So when he was on the comeback trail, he had fought Jermaine Franklin and didn't look amazing in that fight. He didn't exactly, set the world alight in that fight. And then he fought Robert Helenius, and he did get a highlight reel knockout, but not before having a particularly tough fight. I think he got his nose bashed up in that fight as well. So AJ wasn't looking good. Now, bear in mind, we know now that Wilder was mentally shot to bits. He was physically shot to bits, everything. But we didn't at the time. Why? Because we only see with AJ, we had what? nearly 20 rounds to gauge where he's at. And we could gauge that, all right, he's physically doesn't look that bad, but mentally he's a little bit erratic, a little bit jittery. He doesn't really know how to pull the trigger. He needs to feel, all this. Whereas with Wilder, we had one round to go on against Robert Helenius, a man he knew very well, had sparred several times. So that was just a slam dunk. He went in there, knocked him out in a round. So we were going in thinking, okay, day of reckoning. All we need to do is just get both these guys through their respective opponents. AJ got through Valine, and then we saw how diminished Wilder was, and we're like, oh, so that comeback fight he had was careful fight picking. So AJ, I expect him to win this fight. Probably will beat Jake Paul. Whoever they put him in there with in February, which is apparently when he's going to have his next fight, and whoever they put Tyson Fury in there with in April, they could both look really good against them because they could be literally handpicked to make both guys look good, right? It's only when they face one another we can look and say, oh my God, AJ is shot to bits or Tyson Fury's legs are completely gone. It's really only kind of then we'll know. So as it stands now, given their most recent performances, although they both lost, Tyson Fury looked way better in defeat than Anthony Joshua did. Way better. So that's my thoughts on that. If Jake wins, then it's a fixed fight. Yeah, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Watching from Tokyo in queue with my daughter to meet Santa Claus in Tokyo, Japan, which is a place I'd love to see, actually, to be fair. Yeah, Silver looked two weight divisions bigger. He looked massive. Even in all, need Joshua inside four to complete my treble. Should be okay. Bookies odds are suspiciously generous. Yeah, they've been very generous to Jake Paul. Very, certainly over in America they have. They've been very generous to him. It's quite remarkable, really, that Jake Paul he's obviously not the favorite, obviously, but his odds are not as bad as Andy Ruiz's odds were in the first fight. I mean, that just shows where American boxing is at. And I think me and Ade talked about it in our most recent Ade and G-Man show, that in American boxing, we're looking at Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. And we're both saying that that fight in MSG with a really good undercard should easily pack MSG out because it's in the big room. If it doesn't, then we really got to ask questions about what's going on in America with regards boxing, because that fight should draw in MSG like that, even with a not particularly stacked undercard. It should. It it would show me just how far boxing in America has fallen if that is the case. The Netflix crowd are just endlessly waffling. Really, I'm not really. Obviously, I'm not listening to them. Had my first boxing match 2 weeks ago, won on points. Amateur fight, mate, or actual pro fight. But either way, well done. Well done. Did you put a bet on him? I need AJKO. No, 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 no. God, no, I wasn't. I'm not really a betting guy, man. To be honest with you, I very seldom do. Even if it's something that has good odds, and I think I probably will win. I've never really been. Thank God, I've never really done the whole betting thing. To be honest with you, it's just always been, you know, like people always tell me, oh, this is a slam dunk or this, that, and the other. For me, I just don't bother. I just don't bother. Yeah, amateur. Well, brilliant, man. So the amateur career is up and running. That's really, really good to know, man. That's really good to know. What weight do you mind me asking? Because that's going to be you get your first amateur fight. I always say when it's your first amateur fight, it's it's nerve wracking, obviously. Wait, hang on a minute. 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds. This is a female fight. Sure, surely not. This is a female fight. Why is it 12? Hang on. What the hell? Surely not. Oh my God. Wow. That wasn't there. I was not planning on that. So it's a 12 rounder. Oh my God. All right. That's changing things. Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be real good fun. I was not expecting that. I was thinking it was going to be the normal 10 2-minute rounds, and then we get into the main event pretty damn quick. Okie doke. Big up the base the kid, the hardcore casual in the chat there. How are you, my man? How are you, my man? Was not expecting that now, I have to say. I just took it for granted that this was a normal, 10 2-minute round fight. So we're looking at a 12 rounder. We're looking at a 12 rounder. God. I mean, I like watching Alicia Baumgardner, but I was not expecting 12 to 3-minute rounds. Damn. Caroline Dubois fight was decent. Yeah, they usually are, to be fair, her fights. My buddy, Dixon Yamlaf, I think is how you say that name, is making his pro debut tomorrow. Could you give him a shout out? Yamalf. I think that's how you say Yamalf, all right? So big up to Dixon Yamalf making his MMA pro debut tomorrow. Big up to you, my man. Wishing you all the best. I'm sure you'll smash it. I have 500 quid on AJ round three. I said in my pre-fight video that I think AJ either rounds two or rounds three, one or the other. It's gonna be one of those two rounds. One of those two rounds, I reckon anyway. Yeah, 4 a.m. ring walk. Okay, forget what I said about me thinking this is a 3:30 a.m. ring walk, because you're looking at 36 minutes of boxing plus 12 rounds. So you're looking at you're looking at an hour. Yeah, we're looking at a 4 a.m. ring walk time then. Because Netflix just dragged this. So the last fight ended about 20 minutes ago, more. So Netflix dragged out one fight to another to 20 minutes. They're going to drag the crap out of the main event. So yeah, we're looking at a unless this ends early, which I doubt it will. Female fights tend to go long, or tend to go the duration. So yeah, we're looking at a long one for this one. Gee, are you in Ireland or did you travel back to the 70s? Nah, man, in Ireland all the way. In Ireland all the way. Do you think Mick Conlan could win a world title like WBC is vacant? Maybe, maybe. He looked good last time out. He's got no fight lined up. I mean, there was a lot of talk of Josh Warrington. It's obviously not happening. Josh Warrington's fighting Lee Wood. Maybe. I'd say it's unlikely, personally. Although saying that, he looked pretty good last time, but I'm not gonna lie, Mick Conlan. So there could be a chance for him still. But this is his last chance. I mean, this is his last chance to win a world title. Last. Because his punch resistance, I mean, say what you want to say about his previous losses. I mean, the loss to Lee Wood, that's not a terrible loss at all in terms of how he lost it. He's knocked out of the ring. But the Lee Wood loss, it's not a terrible loss. The loss to Lopez, that's not a terrible loss either, because he was really good at the time. So neither of those losses are terrible. The Jordan Gill defeat, that's the one you can't really. It's going to be difficult to get that one out of your head, because Jordan Gill, it's not even British level, really. Maybe British level there or thereabouts. And he bounced Mick Conlan up and down off the canvas. Every time he touched Mick Conlan, he was hurting him. That's a difficult one to get your head around. That's a difficult one right there. Where are we at? The smart move would have been to set an alarm for 4 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, I think so, to be fair. Probably 4 a.m. would have been a better idea. Because Netflix, I like the fact they're in boxing, but they drag these shows out. And I can't believe, I truly didn't think this was a 12 rounder. Because female boxing, you just immediately assume 10 2-minute rounds. When I saw 12 3 minutes, I was like, huh? I thought, what? I was like, damn. So we're getting 12 rounders now. Okay. I think Jake Paul is going to get humiliated and flattened. Yeah. Yeah. And someone asking, is Adelaide still fighting on a Cody's undercard tomorrow? No, not as far as I'm aware. Not as far as I'm aware. I don't know the ins and outs as to why he isn't. But as far as I'm aware, no, he's not fighting on the undercard tomorrow, which is a shame. Now, I don't believe they even had an opponent lined up for him. And at the end of the day, it's people. You've got Lawrence and Cody fighting Ebenezer Tete. It ain't going to be anything stellar. It wouldn't have been anyone stellar. So, yeah, but it would have been just a run out for Adelaide. So, I don't know what the ins and outs are, but he said fight news will be coming soon. So there you go. Anyone else think a Cody versus Tete is a bigger mismatch than AJ versus Paul? Yeah, well, they're about on par. The difference is, right? I think with Tete, I think with Tete, I was going to say defensively he's a bit more cute. He's not really. They're about the same. Like I'd probably take Jake Paul to beat Ebenezer Tete. I probably would because Ebenezer Tete. I'll give you an example, right? Tete in the poster, in the flippin' poster for his fight, looks ancient. Lawrence Okoli is what, 33 years old there, thereabouts. You can't look at both those guys and tell me there's a 4 year age gap between them. You just can't do it. You can't look at both those guys and say there's only 4 years between them. There isn't. There ain't 4 years between them. But there's about 15 years, but there ain't 4 years. There's just no way. Do you think this fight is scripted? No, no, I don't think it will be. I genuinely, I know a lot of people are thinking that, but for me, I don't think it's going to be scripted. I think it's going to be legit. I think that this fight, however long it lasts, will be legit. It'll be a legitimate fight. Um, the only, the only way I would, how would I explain it? The only way I think it wouldn't be is if you saw AJ dramatically holding back, like if you could tell, all right, he can go for it there and he's not doing it. If you saw that, or if you there are certain telltale signs, right? But I don't think it will be. Tete older than the Bayabuchi. What's that say? Any annoying Luke Partridge fanboys today? Nah, the Partridge fanboys, they went very quiet after he lost to Usyk the second time. So I never really see them these days. Never really see them these days. Once he lost to Usyk the second time, and it's funny because when he lost to Usyk about this time last year, and I will read that super chat now in a sec, Peter, just bear with me. Once he lost to Usyk the second time, I remember it very clearly, right? Did a live watch along, right? Same position, same everything. And I can't remember how many subs I had. It was over 20,000, right? Let's just say I had 21,200 subs when he fought Usyk the second time. And I remember no sooner had that final bell gone, right? And I ended the live, I lost about 10 subs. And I reckon they were all the Partridge fanboys who just knew, all right, we're done. We're done. There's nothing we can do. We lost again, legitimately. Because I had Fury fanboys in the chat of that watch along. I remember it. For the first couple of rounds, Fury's winning this, that, and the other. Yeah, yous are all going to be sorry. And when it dawned on them, Usyk's winning this fight, just gone. So once Fury lost the second time, they pretty much went. I barely have had any Fury fanboys over. And yeah, bear in mind, I haven't been talking about them as much. But whenever I have, and I've critiqued them, you don't hear anything from them. So I think we're all right with the Fury fanboys. I think Hatman, with the whole Luke Partridge thing, I think that's how he attracts them, because he still attracts a lot of those Fury fanboys with the whole Luke Partridge thing, which is just hilarious. I mean, addressing him as Luke Partridge for me is just that name. And here's the thing: someone like Fury, a name like that, when I think of that, I can see him being called that, if that makes sense. When you look at someone, you're like, he looks like a Luke Partridge. I can see him having a name like that. That's hilarious. Basically, for the £1.99, we need some G Man merch. To be honest with you, when you hit 10K subs, you're able to do it. I don't know if it's still the option, but I remember when I hit 10K subs, that was something that you could do. You can actually get merch done via your channel. I think it was a Teespring or something like that. It's called. It's never been something that I've thought about doing, to be honest with you. I know Ade had merch. I think he might still do at one stage, but it's never something that I've thought too deep about, to be honest with you. And I don't think, I don't know. I'd be very surprised if I ever did merch. To be honest with you, I'd be very surprised if I ever did. I really would. He called AJ Femi. Yeah, and look, AJ, he's never been called Femi ever in his career by anyone. Whereas Fury, it was right. Here's the funny thing, because I've seen it. It's on Daily Motion. If you look at the full fight against Steve Cunningham, it's on Daily Motion. Before the ring walk, the announcers who were commentating, it was, I forget who was actually the broadcaster. It wasn't any of the major ones. It wasn't HBO or Showtime. Chris Mannix yeah, he was the backstage interviewer on that show. He was interviewing Clifton Mitchell, and after Mitchell looked real awkward in the interview, and he just said, "We're going to get a knockout, and if we don't, what was it? He guaranteed a knockout, and he said, if we don't, then I'll win on. Then he'll win on points." And then the announcer says, "There's Luke Tyson Fury." All right, and some people would say maybe that, well, one, if it's just a slip of the tongue, why would he call him Luke in the first place? Right, and second, if you use the Wayback Machine, all right, and you go on Wikipedia, he was Luke Tyson Fury, and actually the Wayback Machine has his nickname listed as Tyson, and his real name Luke Tyson Fury, up until I think about 2012. If you use the Wayback Machine, you can see it, right? Just use his Wikipedia, go on the Wayback Machine, you can see it there. So there's plenty to suggest that his real name is Luke, whereas AJ, there's no evidence at all. Like, man's name is Anthony, and he's out here calling him Femi. And then when you call him Luke, which is a apparent middle name, most likely first name, they get upset. But when you add the Partridge name in there, oh, oh boy, that's a game changer. Because the Luke Fury thing, yeah, it's not the worst name in the world. Tyson Fury is still a better name. But when you go and you say Luke Partridge, oh boy, oh boy, that changes things. And when you see pictures of Fury where, he's just looking, his usual self, kind of slottish and stuff like that, you just think Luke Partridge, you're just like, yep, that's it. That's it right there. I doubt the girl at Orange wins. I think Bam Gardner's going to win this fight. It is weird, to be fair, seeing a female fight straight off the bat like this, where they're actually taking their time, where the punches actually look a little bit more crisp. Because as you know, with female fights, you're talking 2 minute rounds. They have to sprint every single round. So technique does completely go out the window when that's happening. Whereas this actually doesn't look, they're not going to win any awards for technique, but it doesn't look quite as bad. It's a very cagey start, it has to be said. Bam Gardner's landed a couple of shots in this first round, but, and yeah, no head movement. I mean, what do you expect? But it is interesting seeing them fight like that. So there's the first round done. This fight, get this fight over with into the main event. I am hoping we see a knockout. I really am. Because the sooner we get this done, then there you go. Ray Dog with the £2. Thank you very much, my man, for the £2. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. It's not a good sign that we're going to get this fight anytime soon when Jake Paul doesn't even have his boxing boots on. Let's just hope. Did I see the final presser? Jake Paul looked jittery. Yeah, well, I did see the final press conference. Yeah, he looked jittery at the weigh-in. He's looked nervous all week. I think for Jake Paul, right, he's making an absolute fortune. He's making a bomb, and 147 in the building, by the way. If you haven't already, do please hit the like button. I think Jake Paul is making an absolute bomb. He knows that. He knows that, this is going to help his profile even when he gets beaten, because he is going to get beaten. But at the end of the day, I'm sure he's thinking, hang on a minute, I'm fighting a heavyweight who is still somewhat useful, we think. And even if he's not as useful as he once was, he's 6'6", 240 pounds, and he has a huge knockout ratio. He's a big puncher, one of the biggest in the division. And I'm fighting him. 2 years ago, I lost to Tommy Fury, and I was weighing below 180 or below 190 pounds. Yeah, I think it's dawning on him. I think he's gonna look. That's the one thing with AJ. He's probably gonna go in there and think, all right, the first round I got to be maybe a little bit circumspect, because when you're in there with someone who, and Jake Paul can look novicey. Well, he is a novice, but he can look very novicey at times. You add nervous energy on that, he is probably going to be swinging like he's throwing a cricket ball. And if you're just a calm professional, you know what you're doing. you would kind of hold back a little bit, not hold back, but you're kind of going to be like, right, I don't want to take an unnecessary risk because he is swinging, and it only takes me stepping in awkwardly to walk into one of those swings. Just keep him on the end of a jab, and you're good. That's what I got to say on that one. And by the way, there's 165. If you haven't already, do please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. And I'm glad that they have. Just one thing I want to point out. I'm very glad that they have Christina Ponce, I think is how you say her last name, on comms, because once Top Rank basically lost that ESPN deal, that basically meant that was a good right hand though by Bam Garner there, to be fair. That basically meant that Christine Ponce was, I don't want to say out of a job, but you know, she didn't have, well, really anything else. So I'm glad that they have her on here because she is one of the better female commentators, in my opinion. So I'm glad that they have her on commentary. Mauro Ranalles, I think is how you say his name. I like him. I do. I like him as a commentator. I think he's good. I think he's got a great voice for it, brilliant voice for it. And he did obviously the Showtime shows. I think he's good. I think he's a good commentator. I think in terms of broadcast teams, in terms of just purely the commentary end, I think that Netflix, I think the Showtime back when they were doing boxing, HBO, I think they're all a good bit better than the zones were or are. I think they are. I really do. Would Reactport be a good opponent for AJ in February? I wouldn't risk him. I'd make AJ favorite, but I wouldn't probably take the risk with someone like a Reactport, especially if you know, as I said, you've got a Fury fight lined up. Might not be officially signed, but if you've a Fury fight lined up, I wouldn't be taking the risk with someone like Reactport now, because I reckon he'd be very much game, and I think I wouldn't be taking the risk personally. You think David Hay is commentating? I hope he is. I really hope he does commentate, to be fair, because there's so many, like in the UK and in the US, there's so many good pundits and commentators who don't get enough time. And here's the thing, you have people like Tony Bellew, who people don't like, and I get why not, because he is quite biased, right? And they say, like, he's not that good, he's this, that, and the other. Tony Bellew is biased, and you're never going to get your proper opinion of him. David Hay can be biased as well. And David Hay, you look at some of his opinions and you're just like, huh? But the difference being is David Hay is funny, he's charismatic, and you want to listen to him. That's the difference. That's what you want. You want people where, all right, even if you're saying stuff and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Because I think he's pretty much, I think he picked Jake Paul to win this fight. Even when you have guys saying stuff like that, you still you wanna listen to them because they're so entertaining. And David Hay is that. Whereas you get guys like Tony Bellew, who it's obvious that they're biased and it's obvious that their opinion is just like, okay, whatever, whatever. But they don't have that natural charisma that someone like a David Hay has. And that's what you want. Because I think when pundits are out there, Johnny Nelson to an extent as well. Johnny Nelson was a proper company man with Sky, saying stuff like, what was the guy's name? James Tennyson would knock out Tank Davis and stuff like that. And then he goes and gets knocked out in the first round next fight. Usyk is an average southpaw, etc., etc., etc. But Johnny Nelson still has a bit of something about him. So even when you hear that, you're just like, oh, for God's sake. But, you still can listen to him. He's listenable. Uh, Tony just wants to get home safe. Indeed, he does. Karma, if AJ struggles or loses, money gambling. No one wants Fury back anyway to stink the place out and hug AJ for a boring fight win. No thanks. Rather see AJ versus Herkovic, Caballel, Fabio, or Dubois. I don't think he'd win any of them fights. Maybe Herkovic, maybe. But right now, I wouldn't even be saying that. I wouldn't even be saying that. Someone saying, "Oh, where can I watch the fight?" It's on Netflix. Yeah, it's only on Netflix. Netflix are the sole airer of this show, of this boxing show. So you ain't getting this fight anywhere other than Netflix. Feel a bit guilty, but hoping a female gets knocked out. I just want the fight to end quickly. Although saying that, even if it ends quickly, given the fact that Jake Paul doesn't even have his boxing boots on, if this, just hypothetical, let's say one of these girls lands a shot now. takes the other girl out, right? They're gonna push, they're gonna stall for time like hell. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna stall for time like absolute hell. And I think we're looking at a 4 a.m. ring walk. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. But yeah, this fight right here, in case you can't tell, right? I'm watching it, but I'm not gonna be actively commentating on it. Because yeah, I've not much interest in it, not gonna lie. I'm 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 watching attentively. And Bam Gardner is landing some good shots. She is getting a bit more aggressive. I mean, that girl she's fighting, her face starting to get marked up a good bit in there. It really is actually. Where else are we looking at? There we go. Looking good. We're not looking too bad. And by the way, 200 people in the building. If you haven't already, I'm only gonna ask you a few times tonight, but please hit the like button. The more likes we get, the more this stream is gonna get recommended. The more chance we have of getting some really good numbers in here. I'd like to get some really good numbers. We're at 53 likes with over 200 people in. 4 a.m. is reasonable to be fair. Fight at 6 a.m. I agree 4 a.m. is reasonable, but we are on the east coast of America. Now, when we're on the east coast of America, normally they start a little bit earlier. Like, it's not uncommon for a fight in the east coast to start. What the hell is that guy doing? Why are you showing? All right, some guy showing his nipple on live TV. Didn't need to see that, to be honest with you, but AO. Yeah, what do you expect? It's Jake Paul's show. Man getting his nipple out on live TV. Brilliant. Big up to James Dickinson from Scotland. Yeah, the celeb cam is cringe. I mean, it's cringe when they do stuff. I don't even know who that guy was. Guy getting the nipple out. I'm assuming he was a celeb, but yeah, that's not something you want to be seeing at 3 a.m. in the morning. Ain't really something you want to be seeing. Grown man's nipple on his hairy chest. Nice one. Nice one. So we're into round 4 in this fight. I still just can't get. Oh, that was a good shot by Bam Garner, to be fair. I just still can't get over the fact that this is a 12 rounder. I was thinking, happy days. This is going to be a nice, what, 2 10-minute rounds and stuff like that. Or 2 minutes, 10 rounds. Boom. Liam, final prediction for this fight. Now, my final prediction is AJ to win either, but in the first 3 rounds. Rounds 2 or 3 in particular is what I'm thinking of. But this fight could end in the first round. I mean, if AJ just goes in there and just really sticks it on Jake Paul, could be over very quickly. Like, I'd be very surprised if this fight goes. If it goes the distance, I'll be very surprised. If it goes the distance, right, depending on how Jake Paul fights, AJ is going to get a lot of criticism. He'll probably get a lot of criticism both way. But if Jake Paul fights super negative, just runs around the ring, doesn't engage, does everything in his power not to get beat, not to get stopped, I should say, and doesn't barely throws any punches, stuff like that. I wouldn't say AJ would he'll get criticized, but I wouldn't say you get a crazy amount, given the fact that obviously, like, Jake Paul didn't do anything, and I'd be saying that the same. If he goes in there and it's competitive, and AJ can't put it in, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't, if this happens, and he goes 8 rounds, it's competitive. A bit like how Fury and Ganu went. If it goes similar to that, then we got a problem. And we got a big problem. Because Fury and Ganu was not meant to be as competitive as it was. And it should have really went like AJ and Ganu. Although Fury is not as big a punter as AJ, so on his best day, it would have probably went a few more rounds. But it went like that, and Fury came off looking not the greatest, but Ngannou came off looking very, very good. And it took Fury really having to fight Usyk, and he looked a lot better in both Usyk fights. But that was a prime example. This should have been how it went. But bear in mind, Ngannou is an MMA fighter, and he is massive. Someone says their nipples have been out on TV before. That's good to know, man. That's good to know. When is the fight? The fight is next after this fight. And I'm hoping this fight ends ideally early. Ideally, someone gets a cut or something like that, and this fight is just boom, it's done. and we can get a move on. And we might, because that other girl is cut. You can see it's above the eye, and her face is getting a bit bashed up in there a bit. So you'd imagine that this fight, hopefully, is going to be over sooner rather than later. And there's Derek James. Big up to Derek James every single time. How do I reckon Fury 2015 versus Usyk 2021 goes? I reckon that Usyk would still win. I used to think that a Prime Fury maybe would get the better of Usyk, but I think the best version of Usyk at heavyweight beats the best version of Fury. I think that Usyk, especially you're talking about Usyk who fought AJ. The movement was nonstop. The energy he had, everything. Fury, I just think Fury would struggle trying to keep up even then with Alexander Usyk. So for me, Prime Usyk would always beat a Prime Fury, in my opinion. Or certainly if they were both in their prime but they fought 10 times, Usyk's winning at least. Usyk probably win 8 or 9 of them. 8 or 9 of those times. That's my opinion anyway. That's my opinion. Ideally, someone gets a cut. Someone saying so selfish. For why, I don't know. But you think Jake Paul might not really understand the health risk he's taking? Well, maybe not, because if you think about it like this, like every fight he's had has been kind of selected carefully, right? And even against Tommy Fury, right? He was in there against a novice like himself. So it was two novices fight. Whenever he's been in there, he's always, he's always known what he's doing. He's always known what he's dealing with. When he fought Mike Tyson, you were talking about a 60-year-old, barely mobile Mike Tyson. Chavez Jr., again, a Bob Marley head, as we call him, and not the music. So he's, in a sense, right? Boxing is very real, what he's doing, and I credit him fully for that. But you would imagine the sparring partners are holding back. You would imagine. In the ring, they're picking fights carefully. He is still getting hit. You can't swim without getting wet. So, yeah, I'm sure he understands that. But this will be the first time where he is fighting someone who's coming to win, coming to take his head off, isn't coming to play around, isn't coming to play games with him. And unlike the likes of Tommy Fury and people like that who came to win and in Tommy Fury's case did win, AJ is way bigger, way more talented, hits way more, hits way harder. All these things combined. So for me, I just maybe there is an element of Jake Paul not fully getting the gauge on it. Now, I think with the way he's been behaving in the press conference at the weigh-in, I think that he probably is starting to realize now, oh wow, this is real. This is really happening. And I think once he saw how big AJ was the first time, I think that really struck him that, oh, I'm really fighting you. Like, we're really gonna have a fight. And I think it is starting to hit him now. There is a risk, obviously. Jake Paul is a lot smaller. He's not boxing's not his profession. And again, I give him all the credit in the world. He doesn't need to be doing this. But I think it's dawning on him now. Personally, for me, I do think it's dawning on him now. Yeah, Chavez didn't throw anything. Chavez didn't throw anything until basically the final bell. Yeah, literally. He goes, "Hey, G man, the nipple guy is called Brett. He's a stand-up comedian and good friends with Joe Rogan. If that's what he has to resort to get a laugh out of people, then goddamn, I can't imagine he's going to be a particularly funny comedian, to be honest with you." How did Cody do tonight? Now their fight's not on until Sunday. Their fight's not on until the 21st. So I'd imagine that Cody would win easily. Who sanctioned this? Well, the fight's in Florida. Now, Florida and Texas, those two states seem to be just, have gloves, will fight anyone. Welcome. That seems to be how it is. Because those two states in particular just seem to sanction anything. Doesn't seem to matter what you do or where you're from. They just seem to say, right, let's go. The adrenaline Jake is going to feel is insane. Yeah, he fights like someone who's fighting on adrenaline as well, to be fair. He really does. He fights like someone who's fighting on adrenaline as well. G-Man, fight AJ, a big right hand. G-Man, stop. AJ, stop, fight. AJ, big right hand down the pipe, might kill him. It'll definitely hurt him. God forbid, I hope it doesn't, but definitely going to hurt him. Jake does gas quickly. See, Jake And I wonder as well. See, this is the thing, right? I wonder what his coaches are teaching him, because Jake still does a lot of novice things. And look, you fight as you spar, right? We know that. If you've been sparring the way Jake Paul you would imagine is sparring, he's probably not too different, not too dissimilar to how he fights. You would imagine his coach will be telling him, "Look, you're wasting so much energy." Coaches even in amateur gyms will tell you, if you want to get up on your toes and maybe move around the ring, and maybe, I don't want to say waste energy, but maybe get up on your toes and kind of do a little move around the ring. Maybe do that when you have a bit of a gap, a bit of a lull in action, and just keep your opponent thinking. But you're not always supposed to be doing it. Jumping in, jumping out, bobbing, all that. It's just going to waste energy. Jake Paul does that all the time. And as I said, against Chavez Jr., that was his first scheduled 10 rounder. No, sorry, it might not have been his first scheduled 10 rounder, but it was first time going 10 rounds. And yeah, he looked knackered in that fight. I know it's only an 8 rounder, but he does have a tendency to gas. He is very heavily muscled. I would imagine that Jake Paul, if he was a natural boxer doing just purely boxing training, looking at Jake Paul, he is still a decent size, but I would imagine he'd probably be a super middleweight. If you stripped off all the muscle that he does from weightlifting, I'd say he'd be a super middleweight. I reckon. Tough call tonight. A tough fight to call. Jake definitely needs to close the distance and box dirty as he can. He might catch out of clinch. Oh, I'd say his clinch defense is non-existent. Jake either very brave or stupid. I think the latter. I think you might be right. Although saying that, man, if he somehow manages to pull this off, then well, I would be saying he's brave and something else. I'd be replaced. The word would be starting with an S, but it wouldn't be stupid. It'd be something. It'd be a SM word. AJ is coming for 92 mil. Yeah, I seen someone say that, or show like a feed that AJ would have got £1 million for fighting Cassius Cheney. £1 million, all right, that's low in comparison to what he has been making. To now make it 92, like it's a no brainer why you take this fight. It really. Oh, I'm surprised that we're getting the spam bots for a fight that's on Netflix. It really is. Jack McCormick, G Man or Liam. All habits. Liam, are the women better in Dublin or London in your opinion? Dublin definitely. The women I've met in London have there's not been girls you want to settle down with, put it like that. I spent over a year in London, and the dating scene in London, honestly, I'd be saying ignore. I really would. At least in Dublin, you can still find, they're not the easiest to find, but you can still find some decent-ish girls around in Dublin. You still can. They're normally not from Dublin, to be fair. They normally come from different parts of Ireland and live in Dublin. But you can still find that. In London, I'd say stick a fork in a lot of them. I really would. I mean, I would honestly, some of the girls, I'd be just saying stick a fork in them. Really, really. What part of Dublin are you from? From Swords in Dublin. Yeah, the AI bots are annoying. Yeah, pretty much. London women are money grabbers. Yeah, pretty much. That's the first thing they're asking you. Kind of like they really they're basically. I get it. It's female instinct. They're looking for a provider. I get that, but a lot of them are, how would I explain it? They're women who want to have their cake and eat it. That's the best way to do it. Your mum is from South Dublin. Yes, Swords is up north, so we're near the airport. I don't understand when people say Jake is a power puncher either who hasn't properly knocked out Tyron Woodley. Yeah, someone's saying waiting for what have you done? Ish. I doubt I'll be saying that very much. But yeah, in terms of, I think Jake Paul does have decent power. I'll put it like this, right? When he's fighting guys and he's hitting them, and you look for a certain reaction. When they have a reaction like the way Jake Paul has when he gets those big knockouts, you can tell, all right, there is power there. There's decent power there. He's not prolific with it, and he telegraphs a lot of his shots very, very much. But when he does land, I'd say you'd feel it. There is decent power there. Look, I'd say if he lands the same right hand he landed on Tyron Woodley, I don't know if we'd get necessarily the same reaction from AJ, but he'd certainly, I think, be hurt. Certainly feel it. Um, and what are your thoughts on Garrett A. Davis? I think he's a terrible journalist. Any meeting I've had, and I've only ever had I think one or two with him, have always been cordial. So I'm not going to knock him from that regard, from a personal point of view. I don't think he's that bad, to be honest with you. I think the only time I would say with Gareth A. Davis, I would say a bit like Tony Bellew, where I just check out, is when it comes to Tyson Fury and Bellew when it comes to Matchroom. You're never going to get their honest opinion. Like Gareth A. Davis, I don't know why, but he obviously is a big Fury fan. Fair enough. But his perception of Fury is that just, on a pedestal. So whenever he's talking about Fury, you're never going to get an accurate description of, a Fury, if you know what I mean. It's always going to be because Gareth A. Davis will tell you, what was it, right? So you had Tyson Fury and John Fury, I believe, as well, who were both saying that Tyson Fury in the run up to remember the first USEC date was February 10th, February 10th, 24. That was the first date, right? You had people like John Fury and all saying, "Oh, Tyson, the first camp wasn't great. He wasn't looking amazing. This, that, and the other." And I think that's one of the reasons why they moved the date forward. Never mind the cut that they were saying. I think it's one of the reasons, right? You had Gareth A. Davis saying Fury was looking brilliant in sparring, and here you have John, who's still a member of the team Fury, saying the opposite. So with Gareth A. Davis, it's always pro Fury, no matter what. Like Fury could come back, right? And he could be shot to bits. He could be absolutely shot to bits. He could be looking awful. And you'd have Gareth A. Davis, that's a knockdown. You could have Gareth A. Davis saying he looks perfect in sparring. You know? That was a knockdown, by the way. That girl is getting bashed up in there. That girl looks like she's checked out. Like, I know that right. That girl looks like she's mentally checked out. How many times has Fury retired? How pathetic is it? And big up for the £2. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, Adrian. A fair few times. I mean, he did it. He did it when he was on the first ban, or when it was banned. Really, he was banned. He did it a few times there. He's done it. I mean, he's done it a lot. This is the most recent. Prior to that, it was Jake. It was Jake Paul. Prior to that, that was a good right hand. Yeah, that was a knockdown. Prior to that, it was after Dylan White. He said he retired. He never vacated the WBC title, and then defended it 6 months later. So yeah, Tyson Fury, the boy who cried wolf. I mean, he's done the retirement so much, and then injuries. Oh, I'm injured, this, that, and the other, and this time it's legit. It's like the boy who cried wolf. There's only so much you can get away with before people just start saying, "Now you're fully, you know what." And then he may very well have been injured, and may very well have had the cut in the run to the USEC fight. It never reopened. Strange that, isn't it? Even though he was hit plenty in the face, could never reopen. Then it was a deep cut. I'm just saying, because if you had the cut in February, you got it stitched up, and you were hit as much as Fury was, you'd think that the scar tissue would tear pretty quick. It didn't. And by the way, 260 plus in the building. If you could hit the subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. In particular, hitting the like, subscribe button. Where are we at? Hate seeing women get battered. Yeah, it's not something I particularly enjoy either, to be honest with you. It can be sometimes when you watch something like Katie Taylor Serrano, especially the third fight, that you can appreciate the boxing from Katie Taylor, stuff like that. But when you go in there and you see a woman get flattened, it's not nice. I'm not gonna lie. It's not something you really want to be seeing. I get it. It's not something you really want to be seeing. Like I remember, yeah, Callum Simpson fighting tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know the boxer BBC. You'd never tell. I remember there was, and it was at the Zone. It was behind closed door show on the Zone, and apparently the girl's trainer was her husband. I think it was her manager as well. God Almighty, who was it? I think she ended up fighting on a couple more Matchroom shows. But long on the short of it, she devastatingly knocked the poor girl out in the round. Girl shouldn't have been in there. I'm like, your husband, I think was her trainer and matchmaker. I'm like, he put you in there? God damn. That's yeah, that's not good. That's really not good. It's bad form. Because you want to get up to 100. I was just looking at that there and thinking, oh, ideally, you'd like to get up to 100 likes. I wonder how close we are. Oh, crap. Did I not put monet? Oh, crap. I didn't put monet. Ah, yeah, well, I don't really mind. I was going to say, I was wondering where the thing is. I never monetized. So there you go, user in. Look, I never even monetized the stream. So there you go. You can thank me for that. You don't have to worry about ads. I didn't even It's not the end of the world. The streams, the monetization for the streams is minor. They don't tend to make a lot anyway. I just wondering, I was like, I haven't got any ads yet. I was like, oh, didn't monetize. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. Probably with the super chats that I've already got tonight will be more than the stream will probably make as a whole, just on views. So it doesn't bother me. The streams don't really do much in terms of monetization, stuff like that, unless you get super chats. Doesn't really make a difference. It's more just your normal vids that are the good ones. They're really, really good. Um, Most women just don't have the power. Yeah, exactly. And the glove, like, you're gonna tell me, they're using 8 ounce gloves, right? 8 ounce gloves, even on smaller male fighters, look tiny. They look like mitts. They look like pillows on those girls. And they're 8 ounce gloves. I would make the gloves smaller. Because people are always saying, like, what would you do to change up female boxing? I would make the gloves smaller for one. That's one thing I would do. Tyson Fury is now retired from boxing multiple times with sources stating 4 to 5 separate occasions from Google. Yeah, that does sound about right, to be fair. Because Fury has done that, as I've said, as we've all said so many times. Like, he has announced, I'm retiring this time, I'm retiring that time after time after time. Like, again, it's the boy who cried wolf, you know? I've always said, when Fury does retire, I don't think there'll be any doubt. I think when Fury does eventually call it, we're not going to doubt it. Problem is that with Fury, he needs the attention. He loves being the center of attention. And I think that that's one of the things that's always going to bring him back, even if he legitimately retires. Big up to Jameson, £5, like, sub, share. Boom. Yeah, it's a boring fight. Yeah, it's not been fun. And here's the thing, right? It's not been a cracking fight, to say the least. And it's a 12 rounder. Now we're nearly done. We're into the ninth round. So there's not much left to go, which is good. But it's not been stellar, to say the least. And I've barely been, as you can tell, I've been more reading the chat rather than watching the fight, because I tend to, female boxing just doesn't do it for me. As I said, there have been a few that I've watched and thought, all right, that was decent. They're few and far between. And again, I didn't realize this was a 12 rounder. I thought this was just a standard female 10 rounds, 2 minute rounds, which would be done by now if it was the case. Be long done by now. And then we get into the main event. So, it is what it is. We get through it. And I get to answer the questions, which is fun. I enjoy that. The stream we did on Tuesday night, that was fun. That was a fun live. I have to say, I enjoyed that live. That was good fun. Really enjoyed that one. Let's not forget when Fury stated, oh, yeah, giving the purse to charity. That was just, well, that was the first real time. And it's weird, isn't it? Like, that was the first real time we saw, like, Fury had always been a disingenuous character. That was the first real time we saw how low he was willing to go just to get approval. Saying he's donating his purse to charity. Listen, it's your money at the end of the day. If you don't want to donate it, you're not obliged. Like, you do what you want. It's your money. You're a prize fighter. When you get paid, you go mad. If you want to spend it on how you doing, what the hell you doing, you want to spend it on whatever, go for it. That's your money. Do what you got to do. Don't tell people you're going to do that and then not do it. It's just like, damn. And the funny thing is, right, as time progressed and more people started to blow smoke up Fury's ass, his behavior just got worse and worse and worse. Like, the first Wilder fight, I think most of us agree Fury won that fight, and he should have got the nod. And that night, he was the better fighter. Simple as, right? It ended up being a draw. And the way Fury behaved after that fight, bear in mind, most people, the vast majority of people thought Fury won. Yet and still, the way he behaved very dignified, and he behaved very well. And you have to commend him on how he behaved after that fight. He felt like he won. They didn't give him the decision. It was a draw, and it was just, all right. Very dignified in the interviews. He behaved very well. Contrast that to 6 years later when he loses to Usyk. Legitimately, he's hurt in that fight. He's hit plenty. Like, he was hit way more against Usyk than he was against Wilder, but in their first fight, respectively. Right? Clearly loses the fight, and then he goes and behaves the way he does. He only got the decision because of the war in his country. Blah 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 blah. He's the what? How do we go from a fight that you genuinely got, hard done by you in, to a fight you clearly lost? How do you go from behaving dignified to behaving like that? You know? Warren defends Fury's behavior. Well, yeah, because Frank Warren is getting those comments are what? See any? I don't see any too. I don't see any too bad there. Really? Name I found no real boxes again. More action in 2-minute rounds. I agree with that. I don't really see anything too bad there. The ring looks gigantic. Yeah, the ring is gigantic. The ring is 22 by 22. It's a big ring. It's a flipping big ring. But just in response, yeah, well, Frank Warren. So when Frank Warren signed Tyson Fury, Frank Warren, I believe at the time, had I, hmm, he Billy Joe Saunders, although Billy Joe was going to sign with Matchroom in the next couple of months. He Carl Frampton, who was coming near the end of his career. He Josh Warrington, who was doing all right, but he wasn't doing crazy good. I think that's it. Yeah, and obviously he had Dubois. He still does have Dubois, but Dubois, Anthony Yard, they weren't doing what they're doing now in terms of being on pay-per-views and Dubois being heavyweight champion. They were still very early in both their careers. So at the time, Frank Warren really his whole stable relied on Tyson Fury. So Frank Warren is never going to say about, but it'd be the same if it was Eddie Hearn. I mean, need I mention Conor Ben? Everything Conor Ben has done over the last couple of years, in particular this week, has Hearn even condemned it? I don't think I don't believe he has. So promoters will do that. If you're making the promoter money, unless you physically go and unalive someone, or do something really untoward that could get you arrested, the promoter's not going to care. For the most part, anyway, you're going to be able to behave like an absolute you know what, and they're just going to let you. All right, thank you to Gaz for the $2 New Zealand. Who would win? Paul versus Tank. Also, Till versus Paul. Well, the Till versus Paul fight will be interesting because Darren Till doesn't look too bad. That'd be that'd be fairly competitive to be. That I'd probably not sure to be honest with you because that'd be well. Think of it like this, right? Tommy Fury was meant to fight Darren Till in January of this year, 25. Right? They had that press conference and Darren Till stuck it on the Furies. He stuck it on John Fury in particular to the point where John Fury straight away backed down and then they pull out of the fight. So I don't know because I might favour Darren Till to be honest with you over Jake Paul. As for Tank Davis, better chance of going the distance against Tank Davis because of the size difference, but Tank Davis would still win. Because yeah, if you think about it, and here's the thing, right? Tommy Fury, the Furies in general, when it comes to Tommy, they seem to only want to take quote unquote risks. And I mean that because they're not really taking risks, but they're fighting guys like Jake Paul and stuff like that. It took them how long? What, 2 years to make that Jake Paul fight? Because they were originally going to do it in 21. And I think it got rescheduled twice before Tommy Fury eventually pulled out and Jake Paul ended up just doing his own thing. Then they made the fight, I think, when they felt comfy. All right. Because I'm convinced that Tommy Fury, if it had happened in 2021, they were both complete novices back then. But Jake Paul was probably looking a little bit too good for Tommy Fury back then. Once they felt like, all right, he's improved a little bit. And bear in mind, the next fight for Tommy Fury after he beat Jake Paul, he arguably lost the KSI. So he's doing, oh God, I hate, that I don't understand. Oh crap, no. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the bot. Yeah, the spammer. Yeah, I know, man. I'm surprised. I don't remember it being that bad in the Canelo fight. I know with the zone, in fairness to them, I know with the zone, they they can't help it. But when they're doing pay-per-views, the spam bots can be either they're always there, but sometimes it's just unbelievable how much you're getting the spam bots. Um, Netflix, I'm surprised that we're getting them, to be honest with you, because it's Netflix. Like, you know, surprised. How many fights have I watched live in person, as in the arena this year? None, to be honest with you. That I can no none. Which is strange because I normally get to at least one a year. Um, that's something that has to change next year. I think for me though, like if I'm going to be going to fights live, it's going to be smaller fights, just small hall fights, because when it comes to the big fights like this, it's just so much more beneficial in every way to cover them like this, or not even cover them, just as in like watch alongs, just to even just cover them then and there. But there is some that I can probably get to next year, definitely. I have a sense that something controversial is going to happen, an illegal clash of heads or a low blow. All right, that's an interesting one. Tony West says that that's an interesting one. What makes you think that, man? Just out of curiosity, what makes you think it? It's to be honest, it's not something that I thought of personally. An illegal low blow or a clash of heads. Again, it could happen. And I seen someone mention Warren and Lara too. I mean, that's a prime example. Clash of heads early on, fight to draw. That's it. It's done. And we all knew what was going to happen in that rematch. By the way, Lara was going to beat Warrington again. You could tell in that fight it was going to happen. Lara was going to get through, and he was going to beat Warrington again. But it'd be interesting to know why you think that, man. Very interesting to know why you feel that. Who do I think Conor Ben will face next? Ah, man, jury's out on that one, man. Jury is out on that one. I don't know who they'll fight, put him in there with next. He's going to make his comeback at welterweight, and again, we need to see can he do that weight properly, or can he even do it at all? Because people talk about oh, Conor Ben is going to go. They talk about it as if it's a formality. Listen, Conor Ben is not the biggest 104, or was not the biggest 147-pounder. But if you go 4 years without making a weight, being able to eat and live comfortably, your body hasn't. And bear in mind, Conor Ben's pushing is 30 next year, right? So your body will have over those 4 years will have done a bit of growing. It would have done a bit more filling out as opposed to well, it would have filled out, right? So if you were maybe a comfortable welterweight, maybe you're a big welterweight now, but at least you've been able to just cut the weight your body knows, and you can kind of keep a routine going. You can keep around the weight. You haven't made that weight for 4 years. 4 years. How's your body going to react? Are you going to feel strong when you do make it? What are you going to have to do to make it? All these things, you know? How about Crooker versus Ben? Well, they're not going to do that fight because Conor Ben, the guy who's happy to weight train Chris Eubank Jr., brag about it and encourage people like Terence Crawford to say, oh, I don't know why you didn't put a rehydration clause in there. Man doesn't want to fight because there's a rehydration clause in there. I mean, you can't make it up. I mean, it's just actually incredible. It's just absolutely, you can't make it up. Like, yeah, God, it's incredible. You really can't make it up with him. Liam, have you spoken to anyone who has definitely confirmed this ain't scripted? No, but I can't see this being scripted. I genuinely can't. Man, you doing a lot watch along for the Tate fight? Hell no. I don't think. I've ever done a Misfits watch along, and I don't plan on doing them anytime soon. There's not really a fight in Misfits that would make me want to do a watch along for. And I can't say I have any plans to watch Andrew Tate. I don't think that fight's going to be any good. I think it's just going to be a typical Misfit show, to be honest with you. I think out of all the Misfit shows, the only kind of fight that I've ever wanted to watch from a theatrical point of view was Wings versus Boogie. Just from a purely theatrical point of view, you were talking about two absolute fat messes going in there. They had to shorten the fight to, I think, 1 minute or 90-second rounds because they were both so big. That was just funny. That was just car crash TV, which I love. Car crash TV is great. That's the only kind of fight that I ever thought of. I gotta watch that just to see what happens. G-Man, I think you're the go pundit, you and Dave Allen. Yeah, in fairness to Dave Allen is quite good. And his assessment, like, and I'll give you an example, right? This just kind of shows, we're talking about Conor Ben, right? Dave Allen literally, and I agree with Dave Allen. Dave Allen was saying literally that the win over Eubank, I mean, there's nothing to really be proud of. I mean, you fought a weight train guy and this, that, and the other. And Conor Ben has been in Dave Allen's presence repeatedly, and he's never called him up on it or never mentioned it to him, right? But yet he goes to a 60-year-old man who said something similar and is very respectful and gets all up in his face. I mean, that's bully. That's a bully if ever I seen one. So Dave Allen, a lot bigger, at similar age, which well, he is older, but you know what I mean. He's not much older, and says the exact same thing. You don't say anything to him. Instead, 60-year-old man who was was always smaller. You go when you try and put it on him. Oh, man, just that's unbelievable. That's just unbelievable. It really is. I don't think Ben understands what the actual meaning of respect is. I really don't. Conor Ben is classless. That's what there's no other word you can use for Conor Ben other than classless. That's what he is. And he's one of these guys where he thinks that arriving in a Ferrari with a bag and expensive this, that, and the other, that's class. It's not. It's not. Like I'll give Conor McGregor is classless, right? Everything about Conor McGregor is classless. Yeah, he's rich, he's coming in his three-piece suits and all that. You can't buy class. Same with someone like Ebony Bridges. Ebony Bridges is trying to be Ebony Bridges is a tramp. You can't buy class. No matter what you do, you're just they're classless. There's nothing you can do. The best way to show class is be respectful, show you have a good character, everything. Yeah, if you've got money, it's even better. But Conor Ben's never shown that. I think the issue is talk sport with Ben. What else? Conor Ben is an egomaniac. Someone just says Conor Ben is a you know what. Yeah. No one will say anything to Dave. No, they won't, because Dave Allen's a lot bigger than those guys. So, and again, like, I mean, again, it's just typical bully boy tactics. Dave Allen is what, 6'3", 6'4", 250 pounds, an active heavyweight. He can say that about Conor Ben. Conor Ben won't say anything. Duke McKenzie, 61, 62 years old, very much small. When I say small, I mean small in stature, not a small man in terms of him being weak or anything like that. No, small in stature, and you go and you're happy to go and try and put it on him. It's crazy. There we go. What will Conor Ben do to G-Man soon? You can't read it. Well, I said it's not true. You know? And that was funny. Like the whole concept of, I'm gonna sue you for what? For slander? I mean, he hasn't said anything that's not true. Well, one, he's given his opinion. You're allowed to do that. And second, he mentioned you two adverse findings, which you did. That's in the darts today. There was a dart player that had an adverse finding, and now he's banned, or he'll get a ban, but he's lost his spot in the World Championships. All right, and he's already had one ban for having an adverse finding, and it's not a perform. It darts. What do you expect, right? If someone said, "Oh, Dom Taylor, that's the dart player's name. Dom Taylor failed a test last year," he can't come out and be suing you for slander because he did, and he was banned for I think a month or something like that. So yeah, Duke has every right to his opinion. I would imagine that Nigel does know Duke. I mean, they came up about the same time, and Duke McKenzie is very well respected. I'm sure Nigel can't be happy with that. I'm sure he can't. And again, I said it on Tuesday night when I did the live. It's the fact that Conor Ben, look, the way he's behaving, that's not appropriate behavior, even if you're 20, 21, 22 years old. But you can understand someone, the ignorance of youth. You can understand it, the immaturity. It's not to give it a pass. Absolutely not. But you can understand it because they're young, they're immature, they'll regret behaving like that in a few years' time. You can understand them. You're still going to call them out on it. You're still going to critique them on it. But you can kind of say, right, the ignorance of youth. Conor Ben is nearly 30. I can't understand how someone who is an adult, he's nearly 30, is behaving like that. It's absolutely mind blown. Mind blown. And Duke is very much class. Yeah, walk around like he's a four-way undisputed world champion at 21. Conor Ben could be ringing G-Man next. Who's the best pundit in your opinion? Well, Duke McKenzie is right up there because his predictions are normally spot on. So, like I said, the only prediction that I think he's got wrong in the last couple of months, and everyone's going to get a prediction wrong, is Adelaide versus Hergovich. But he pretty much, he almost got that one spot on as well. So, Duke McKenzie, when it comes to predictions, he's very good. He's very good. Dave Allen's quite good as well. I think with Dave Allen, and I definitely noticed this with Dave Allen when he did the Monaco show, I think that Dave Allen is holding back a little bit on really giving his opinion because I think Dave Allen's not stupid, right? Dave Allen knows, like, I'll give you an example. Like, although he did say it immediately after the fight, he did say he thinks Johnny Fisher should retire. But I think he's holding back a little bit because obviously you want to keep those punditry gigs coming. And if you go and you just say everything you're thinking then and there, you might not get asked back. You might not get asked back. Duke has a fine legacy. Oh, he's an absolutely brilliant. Like Duke McKenzie is a three-time, three-division world champion, and in Britain there are not many people who've done that. Not many at all. Duke McKenzie has a legacy in boxing. Did he make the kind of money that Ben made? No, and as he said, if he was around today, he would have made a lot more money. And Duke McKenzie, if he was around today, good God, he'd be a star because a respectful man, great fighter, three-division world champion in the UK, and he'd be on the front page of most public. He'd be every talk show would have him on. He'd be doing brilliant. I'm not against gender equality. However, I believe in mediocrity. Yes, standard is improving, but when people refer to Shields as the GOAT, she compares at a weight which has 21 active fighters. Couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it any better than that. Honestly, like, Clarissa Shields, if a man did what she's doing, going from 154 to heavyweight seamlessly and picking up titles, this, that, and the other, it would be way more impressive because there's over 1,000 active fighters in pretty much all the divisions. Well, not all the divisions. I mean, the lower weight divisions probably isn't, right? But in that kind of ballpark, and everyone in the top 50 are somewhat useful, right? The top 10 will all be useful in most divisions. So to do that, it's phenomenal. But to do it with what Chris Shields is doing, I mean, you're fighting literally nobody's. You're literally just you can't, like, you know what I mean. So I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. Absolutely. And by the way, 300 people in the building. 300 already. We're getting some pretty good numbers in here tonight. If you haven't already, do please consider hitting the like and hitting the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it if you could. In particular, hitting the subscribe button. We really want to get a few more people in the building. We really want to get a few more in here. So if you could, I would encourage you to hit the subscribe button. And we're only 45 subs away from we're only 45 subs away from 28,400. Yeah, well, Andrew Bryce says it there. The problem with female boxing is there isn't the required depth of talent. Girls fight for world titles after 3, 4 fights. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, you see, you could have a story. You see, Fabio Wardley's story is amazing. White collar to world champion in the heavyweight division. You could have I'm pretty sure there is. There's female fighters who've been ring card girls. There's female fighters who can probably have one white collar bout, go straight into boxing, and within 5 fights they're world champion. But that's not an indication of their talent. That's an indication of the lack of talent and depth of talent in female boxing. You would never, like, I mean, if Fabio Wardley went from white collar to, in say, 5, 6 fights world champion, you would be like, holy crap, this kid, this is this is talent that we've just world champion. You're not seeing that because you'd never do it in male boxing. And big up to Ben Odom for the £10. No comment, but just thank you. Just thank you, my man. G-Man, ask Addy to set up a meet between you and Conor Ben. You need to speak man to man to squash this beef. Well, there is no beef with me and Conor Ben. But the idea of speaking man to man, I think the wording is a bit wrong there. You know, man to boy. I think that's better. That's better wording. G-Man, my mum is 70. However, if she fought her sister, she'd be top 20. Ben Hughes says, G-Man, are you feeling like a celebrity yet? Do you get noticed in public? Do I feel like a celebrity? Absolutely not. And I don't think I ever will. And I'm certainly not that. Believe me. I mean, my YouTube channel is big in a boxing circle, but in the grand scheme of things, it's tiny. In terms of getting noticed in public, never in Ireland. I've never been, apart from like my hometown where people know me because I've just grown up with them. Never in Ireland. Never have anyone come to me on the street or anywhere while I lived here and say, you know, oh, I watch your channel or anything like that. In the UK, yeah. At boxing events, obviously, you expect that. But yeah, I mean, like I've had people in the airport come up to me. I've had people on the tube. I've had people in the gym actually I go to. Had people even in a bar I go to the odd time to come in and be, oh, you know, you know, G-Man and stuff like that. So yeah, it it's strange when it happens. I don't get me wrong, I like it. I appreciate the fact that people, you know, go up and say hi, and you know, I love that. I'm always going to be respectful. And I always chat as well. I always have a chat with you. It is strange because just kind of like I still just see myself as just me. You know, I don't see myself. I just see myself as just someone who just loves boxing and you know kind of goes about things as I always have. It is strange, but it doesn't happen regularly. Like I mean, maybe once a month, maybe someone will recognize, maybe if even. You know, it does happen a bit more frequently now that I do have the show with Ade and stuff like that. But yeah, Ade gets recognized a lot more than I do. A lot more. I go to the gym group in Stratford. Gym group in Stratford. Have I ever been to Glasgow? No, I've never been to Scotland ever. I will. One of the goals I have for the new year, right? And this is just a personal goal, right? It's nothing. I have my own goals for like the channel and career and stuff like that. But one of the just things I want to do in the new year is see different parts of the UK at least once every kind of 2 months. So I lived in the UK for over a year, and I've only gone to like two other places other than London, which just isn't enough. So my whole thing for the new year is if it's a free weekend, there's no boxing, and you know that there's something to do, and it's not too expensive. Let's go to maybe Winchester, or go to I don't know Cornwall, or go to Newcastle. Go up into Scotland. I'd have to fly to Scotland because yeah, that's going to be a job getting up there. But I mean, a flight to Scotland, you would imagine, wouldn't take that long. But that's the plan. That's one of my kind of goals for the new year is to just get out and see different parts of the UK. Because there's no point living there if you get a bit of free time and you don't start seeing other parts. You know, I've seen most counties in Ireland, but I've lived here, well, almost my whole life. I've lived in the UK for over a year. I need to see different parts of the UK because it's not just London, you know, there is other parts. So that's one of the things for the new year. Edinburgh, Cambridge, York. Can't say Cambridge is on that list, to be honest with you. Go to Essex. I live not too far from Essex, so and I've been into Essex, so yeah. I was actually in Romford a couple of weeks ago, and we ended up in a place called Hornchurch. So I've been to Essex. It's yeah, it's all right. Um, Cambridge, not really, but Edinburgh and York. Yeah, I'd like to go up to York actually. Actually, that's one of the places I would actually like to go to. Winchester, yes, definitely Winchester. Absolutely, absolutely Winchester. Loved it. Luton, no, I ain't going to Luton, man. Only takes 40 minutes from London City to Edinburgh. And London City is my main airport. Because I live in Stratford, so it's not far. It's what, 7 stops in the DLR? Takes 20 minutes. So yeah, London City to Edinburgh. That's actually what I'm gonna hopefully. Hopefully we can do that. I'm from York, Tom's from York. Yeah, York looks absolutely incredible. It really does. So York's on the list. Obviously Winchester, Canterbury, and that's not far from me. And obviously, someone mentioned Cornwall in a previous stream, and I was thinking, yeah, Cornwall actually looks nice. That kind of part of the UK. Bristol, I know they're not close, but you know what I mean, like that part of the UK, Plymouth and places like that, Exeter and stuff like that. So I want to see there. I can't say Northern England, apart from Yorkshire or York, apart from there and Newcastle. And really, the only reason I say Newcastle is because I want to go to Edinburgh or Bamber, as it's called. I want to see the castle. That's the only reason why I want. That's literally the only reason why I want to go there, just to see Bamber Castle. That's the only reason. I'd imagine Cornwall would be expensive. I'd imagine it would be very expensive. You're stuck in Clapham. Yeah, I've never. Yeah, a lot of people. Cornwall is expensive. Yeah, I can easily imagine Cornwall is. To be fair, I can imagine. Best boxing gym in the country. Henry Wharton's gym. I haven't actually been to a boxing gym in London. The nearest one to me, and I don't think I'd be welcomed if I went. In fact, I think I would be if I'm probably without me even going. I reckon I'm probably already barred. The nearest boxing gym to me that I know of is Peacock's gym in Canning Town. Tunde Ajayi and Anthony Yard fight out of there. I don't think I'd be welcomed for some reason in that gym if I went to it. I don't think so. I just have that feeling. Maybe it might have been some things I've said in the past. Yeah, it's in Cannon Town, yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is again, it's not a million miles away from me, but I don't think that I have a feeling I wouldn't be too welcome in there. Get down to Tibbs's gym. That's in Essex, isn't it? Yeah, probably more welcome there. Probably more welcome there. I wonder, are they getting the main event on quick? 'Cause the main event's next. It's going to be interesting. Peacock's gym is fine. Genuinely, it looks absolutely a-okay. It looks A1, but you know, couldn't they? Uh, oh yeah, Lions in the camp. Lions in the camp. So what else is just Miguel's gym, which is in Brixton. I ain't going Brixton. It's miles away. Um, Miguel's gym in Brixton. There's Ben Davison's, which is in London somewhere. I'm not sure where. There's a good few gyms around London, definitely. Tunde don't run it. No, he doesn't. But still, would Jake Paul beat Johnny Fisher? It's a pick and fight that one. To be honest with you, Johnny Fisher's chin looks shot to bits. It looks shot to bits. That's a real pick and fight that one. I probably, mm, I probably. I just think of that fight nicely. I probably would edge to Johnny Bosch slightly, but that's a pick and fight, really, right there. Finchley Gym is in High Barnet, miles out. Yeah, man, High Barnet, that's miles away. That's on the outskirts. No. With the Hulk Hogan t-shirt on, America, that's definitely a Hulk Hogan reference with that t-shirt on. Where else? Where we go? Thoughts on Lennox as a pundit? Eh, as a commentator pundit, Lennox Lewis never did it for me. Lennox Lewis was Lennox Lewis was on HBO back in the day, and he wasn't on for very long. They got rid of him pretty damn quick. George Foreman was George Foreman was hilarious as a commentator on HBO back in the day. He was hilarious because no matter what Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant agreed on, he just decided. I don't know whether he did it deliberately or not, but he just always disagreed on it. Look at that, 3-3 is that's a sign. Currently 3-3 in the building. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, that's going to boost the subs because it's just the 3-3 is. There you go. Out of Fury or AJ, who would have given Lewis a harder fight? I reckon Fury would have, personally. I think that the height of Fury, the awkwardness of him, I think Lennox Lewis would have still won. Like I'd pick Lennox Lewis to beat AJ and Fury. So if they both fought, like, and Lennox Lewis would beat them both, in my opinion. But he'd have a harder time with Tyson Fury than he would with Anthony Joshua. I think with Anthony Joshua, he would stick a jab because AJ, you can put him on the back foot. Like Klitschko did that very early with his jab. I think that Lennox Lewis would be physically every bit as strong as AJ because Lewis was very physically strong. And I think he'd just find AJ with a right hand. I think AJ would be nervous. He'd be second guessing himself. And I think Lennox Lewis would walk him onto a big right hand and take him out. Fury be harder. One, he's taller than Lewis. Lewis can't fight up close when he needed to in his prime, or in general. He can't fight up close. I think he'd need to bring it to Tyson Fury. He'd need to make it awkward. He he'd be able to see. He'd be able to shut down Fury's clinch game because I think he's physically strong enough. He definitely is to be able to match Fury up close in the clinches. So I think that Lennox Lewis, if they did fight, I think Lewis he'd have a harder time. He might not stop I think he'd stop AJ. I think he'd stop AJ. I don't know would he stop Tyson Fury because you know what Fury's like. He's cute, but I think he'd win. I think he'd beat Fury on points. I can't believe this fight is happening. I mean, like we are here. I mean, I know I don't think I said that this fight won't happen. I don't think I've ever said it. I just genuinely believed it would. Lots of people were saying it won't happen. Case in point, we are waiting ring walk. This is it's weird though. Like I said it at the start of this show, and I'm saying it now. When we're doing a live watch along, we're normally doing it. Sorry about that. We're normally doing it for big fights, big fights, right? You have that big fight feel. This doesn't have it. This doesn't have a big fight feel to it. It just it's hard to explain. It's just like an event, and I've said that before. You're just watching it, and you're like, okay, we're getting AJ Paul next, but there's no because you know that big fight feel when you're waiting for Usyk Dubois. You can feel it. You know that feel. You're sitting there, you're waiting, and you're just like, it's coming. It's happening next. We're waiting for it. You're not really getting that with this. Although Alex says he's something himself. Say goodbye to Femi. I'd be very surprised if AJ loses this fight, man. I'd be very surprised if AJ was to lose this fight. We're all here to see AJ spark Paul. I'm expecting it early. I'm expecting it flipping early. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't. I'm thinking, right, it's what time now? It's 4:05. I'd be very surprised if I'm not wrapped up. And when I say wrapped up, I mean wrapped up, finished the live, have the post fight uploaded and recorded in the next hour. I'd be very surprised if I'm not done in the next hour. Very well. Either way, it's only an 8 rounder. So an 8 rounder, it's gonna be done like that because we're used to 12. So an 8 rounder is just gonna be boom, done, see it. Good luck. That's it. And by the way, 375. Again, if you could hit the like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. We will be doing live commentary for this fight. So once we get into the ring and once the first bell goes, the chat is going to be taking a backward step and it's going to be commentating on the fight. 100%. Netflix is awful. Prediction, how many rounds does it go? It goes probably about 2-3 rounds. Yes, Shadow says here, no aura. And there's definitely that feel to this. There's just nothing. There's no big fight feel to it. Exactly. Netflix coverage. Well, from production value, Netflix coverage is very good. I don't know what the punditry team is like. Even if Paul lands a big shot, it won't have an effect. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't rule out Jake Paul again. If he lands it, he has to land it first. Why are people acting like this is a real fight to be over when AJ connects to her Paul and you remember the Tyson fight? The Tyson fight was real. I don't believe the Tyson fight was fixed at all. Oh, there's David Hay. Just sorry, there is David Hay. We love David Hay on punditry. We love David Hay on punditry here. And Christina Poncher. Big up to her every single time. Big up to her. I'm glad to see her back covering boxing. She deserves it. She's a great commentator. She really is. But David Hay, i- probably my favorite pundit. And I love David Hay as a boxer. I was a massive David Hay fanboy when he was in his prime. I cannot emphasize enough. I flipping loved David Hay growing up when he was a fighter. Loved him. And I still love him as a pundit because he is hilarious. He is just. David Hay has advised to bet on Paul. Oh, man. We love David Hay. If Jake Paul renders AJ unconscious, would you support Usyk versus Paul for the unified heavyweight title? No, no, because if he beats Anthony Joshua, if he knocks him out cold, which is a big if, right? Okay, you've beaten the guy coming in off the back of a defeat, a devastating defeat, and a year of inactivity. He's not ranked by two of the four sanctioning bodies. By the WBC, for some reason, he's ranked very high, which I don't understand. By the WBO, he's ranked in the lower end. What? How does, you know, I mean, if Joseph Parker, and it's his own fault, but if Joseph Parker can beat Wilder, Zhang, Bacoli, and not get a title shot, I mean, if you think about it like this, he got elevated to full champion. But if Wardley can beat Clark, Hooney, Parker, and still have to wait and have Usyk vacate, and if he was an interim champ, he'd be fighting for the vacant title, then Jake Paul don't deserve a world title shot beating Anthony Joshua. No. It is scripted. It would be a criminal conspiracy, and RICO changes would apply. Big money bet on this is nonsense. Right. I saw Hayes bar Courtney fry out in the amateurs. Hey, David Hay is an amateur. I'd say that would have been fun to watch him. It is scripted. It would be a criminal conspiracy, and RICO charges would apply. You're gonna have to fill me in what RICO charge means. I'm assuming that's something to do with betting, is it? Ben is saying I'm angling towards Paul as he's in the Hulk Hogan colors. Yeah, as soon as I saw that T-shirt, I was like, "That's a reference to Hulk Hogan if ever I saw one. That's a reference to Hulk Hogan if ever I saw one." And if Hulk Hogan was alive, he would be attending this. Like it's in California, it's in Miami, California, it's in Miami. He would be 100% in attendance. Has David Hay ever got a prediction right? I'm sure he picked Usyk to beat Fury. I'm sure he did. So he probably got that right. Did he? Did he pick Amir Khan to beat Canelo? I know we said Amir Khan was bigger than Canelo, which is just ha 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 ha. That's just laugh. But I wondered. I think he might have picked Khan to beat, which is just laughable when you think about it. I'm trying to think who else. David Hayes' prediction record is not good. Not good at all. Yeah, brother. Hulk Hogan. He went against Fury. Yeah, well, that's probably one of the few occasions where he got a prediction right. And he would go against Fury. He's gone against AJ loads. He's gone against Fury. Very seldom does David Hay get a pick right. And as someone rightly points out, yeah, that is because David Hay doesn't like Tyson Fury. Canelo was outpointing Canelo, to be fair. Well, I got that fight close going into the 6 rounds because Canelo was getting back into it, and then obviously, but we all knew Khan could outpoint Canelo, but we knew he would never. We knew it was one of those fights where you just looked at it and you just knew, right? Khan's moment to disaster is going to strike sooner or later. It's just going to happen, and you kind of there's certain fights you just know disaster's coming. There's other fights where you think disaster might happen, and you get into the fight and you're just like, he's got it covered. You know when you can just tell he's got it covered. Nothing. He's covered. He's good. With AJ versus Dubois and with Can Canelo, you just knew, right? Disaster's coming. Disaster's going to strike sooner or later, and it's coming. You just knew. You had that feel. You just knew it's happening. And I got to feel with both those fights. In particular, the Amir Khan fight. You just knew that it's happened. Agree. But wouldn't be first fixed during our incompetence decisions. I too was David Hay fan, but I didn't like how he called the woman girls in the previous fight. Female fight, you have two girls fighting. I don't really see too much of a problem with that, to be fair. Kind of pointing. How can Paul boast about a win over the people he beat? I think, given the fact that some of them were, well, Mike Tyson, there's no boasting over that. There just isn't. But I think, given the fact that he is quote unquote not a boxer and he's fighting some of them real, but even though they're shockingly bad, some of the real boxers, as in like they are on box rec, they are well, maybe active or maybe were active boxers, have been shockingly bad. 2 minutes and 30 seconds till Netflix. This is why I don't like Netflix. They do these constant breaks. They really do drag it out. I'm hoping in the next 10 minutes they'll be in the ring. And bear in mind, it's not a long fight. It's only an 8 rounder, so we should be all right. Yeah, it's literally two girls fighting. I don't see an issue with that. I really don't see an issue because, yeah, you've got the two, you'd be like, yeah, you've got the two girls in the ring. I don't see an issue with that myself personally. The worst prediction ever was by Spencer Oliver, who actually predicted Robert Guerrero to beat Mayweather. Yeah, I like Spencer Oliver. Some of his picks and some of sometimes he can be difficult to listen to. Spencer Oliver. Sometimes he can be difficult. Spencer Oliver, I met him backstage at his live show because we were both guests on. It was, yeah, some of his picks can be a little bit strange, to say the least. Usyk struggled in his first fight versus Chisora at heavy. Yet people think Paul has a chance. Well, Chisora wasn't his first fight at heavyweight. It was Ches Witherspoon. He struggled against Chisora because Usyk has probably never seen it before or after someone like Chisora. Hyper aggressive, gets under his shots, puts it on him, roughs him up. Usyk is probably not used to that. So when people said, "Oh, look what Chisora did, look what AJ or look what Fury's going to do," it's like, hang on a minute, hang on a minute. Chisora is 6'1", and he's like a bouncer, and he's going in there, putting it on Alexander Usyk, trying to rough him up. It's like they are not going to do that. Like, there's no way AJ is going to get under Usyk's shots. He's 3 inches taller than him. So I was always kind of like, where, it's a completely different style. AJ can't fight like that, nor can Fury. Barry Jones is exceptional. Yeah, Barry Jones is brilliant. He is exceptional. Yeah, Johnny Nelson, when he says things like that, like I get the impression with Usyk. I get the impression with Usyk, he's looking at Usyk and thinking, all right, you've kind of come into the cruiserweight division after me. And Johnny Nelson was a good fighter. He was a good cruiserweight champion. But you can't compare. Like, do you remember when Marco Huck was the guy at cruiserweight and Johnny Nelson wanted to come back and fight him? Like 8 years after retiring? Johnny Nelson, I think, is one of those where when it's his division, he still sees himself as, one of the guys. His run at cruiserweight was all right, but like, his probably best result was a draw with Guillermo Jones that many people feel that he lost. And Guillermo Jones was a decent fighter as well, to be fair. Guillermo Jones went from 154 to cruiserweight and was a world champion at cruiserweight. Let that sink in. Oh God, Chisora versus Paul. Oh God, Derek Chisora every day, and it'd be over quick. It'd be over very quick because Chisora would just go in there and just start swinging. And you see, here's the thing: Jake Paul versus Chisora. That would be not fun for Jake Paul because Chisora would go in and he would absolutely ragdoll Jake Paul. He'd ragdoll. Jake Paul wouldn't be used to that. So yeah, that wouldn't last too long. That would not last too long. Jake Paul there, he'd ragdoll him. How old is Johnny Nelson now? He's got to be nearly 60. I mean, would he still hit the bag and stuff like that? Yeah, I wouldn't say he'd be. You see, you have to remember, right? Like Carl Froch, prime Carl Froch would beat the living crap out of Jake Paul, stop him early. 50-year-old Carl Froch with grey hair hasn't taken a punch and dares the nipple guy again. Brett, whatever. Yeah, that's what we all want to see that. And they're showing all these celebrities. We all want to see these celebs, don't we? Because they're all just, that's what we're coming to watch. We're coming to watch the celebs. Never mind the fight. I think they're making the intros now. And you know something? I'll give Ben Shalom some credit. A broken clock is right twice a day. Ben Shalom in his time on Sky did absolutely nothing. Nothing. Apart from introducing the world to Big Mo. And he is gradually becoming one of the better MCs in boxing. I like Big Mo. I quite do. I like him. I think he's good. What are they doing? Oh, for God's sake. Scotty Bishop. Okay. They're singing the. Why? Can I spoil it? The anthems. Why? It's not a world title fight. She's cute. Not really my type, to be honest. Has Dream Man's drink been VADA tested? Just water. This guy's not really be my type now, to be honest with you. All right. At least we don't. Yeah, the Saudi anthem, I don't get that. I mean, in a world title fight, I don't. I just want to get the fight on, if you know what I mean. So for me, the anthems are just like, just get them on. But when they're doing the Saudi national anthem, you're like, all right, I missed the part where we had Saudi fighters fighting. You know? And people say, yeah, she's cute. She wouldn't be my type. She wouldn't be my type. That's someone I'd go for now. She can't sing, people are saying. Yes, reasonably. Yeah, again, like, that wouldn't be my type. So who's singing the US one? That'd be more my type. That girl there who's gonna sing the US. Yeah, she'd be more my type. Turkey owns boxing now. He certainly seems it. So who's singing the US? Ali Brooke. Dave would smack. Yeah, Dave would beat Dave Allen. I'm assuming that's who you're talking about. Yeah, he beat the living crap out of Jake Paul. Bacoli inspiring. Cringe fest. Yeah, the national anthems. Hulk Hogan is winning this. Hulk Hogan is RIP. When did Hulk Hogan die? A couple of months ago now? During the summer, wasn't it? Hulk Hogan. I'm pretty sure he was living in Florida. I think in Miami. Americans are weird. They're an interesting they're an interesting lot. Not all of them, but I think I've told this story before. When I was in a bar in London ages ago, and an American couple from Washington State were there. It wasn't too busy, so you could hear everything. And they go to the barman, and they were obviously American. They're like, them trying to explain, it was hilarious. But them trying to explain the difference between Washington, D.C. and Washington State, which we all knew there is a difference, was just hilarious. It was hilarious, them trying to explain it. And I was like, you're from Washington State. And they were like, no, no, no. It's like, There's Washington, and then there's the other one, and we're from that one. And we were kind of like, "You're from where?" So like, there's Washington where the crazy guy lives, and then there's the other Washington, and that's where we live. I was like, "Oh, you're Washington State." No, like, so Washington in DC is here, and Washington we're from is there. There's like two, and everyone is like, "Yeah, you're from Washington State." And it was just like, oh my god, these people, they don't get it. It was just, yeah, it was hilarious. They're done the anthems now. They're done them. So we get a move on. Jake Paul shutout points win. Did I see Tommy Robinson in IFL? Hell no. Washington State is beautiful. Not a state that's really high on my list to visit, to be honest with you, man. Not a state. And I'm talking about Washington State, as in on the West Coast. No, not a state that's on my list, man. Not a state. Um, Florida is on my list. Like to visit Florida. Like to visit kind of maybe Maine, New Hampshire up there. That's really it then. Not many other states that I'd really be keen to visit. Not really any actually when I think about it. Not really. A lot of people I know a lot of people would say Texas. Texas isn't really a state that I'd really be too I wouldn't turn down a trip to it, but it's not a state that I'm mad keen to go to. Maybe Tennessee, maybe. There you go, maybe go Nashville, Tennessee for the music history and stuff like that. But that's really it. Texas, nah, nah, not Texas. It's not really a it's not really a state that I would be interested in going to personally. Not really. And yeah, maybe New Hampshire, Maine, Florida definitely. And then that's really it. Maybe Tennessee, maybe. That's it. So Anthony Joshua getting ready for his ring walk. It's now 4:30. But again, this is only an 8 rounder. So we should be done this pretty damn quick. Texas is Man, Texas is massive. Massive. It's Texas as a state is I think Texas is the second biggest after Alaska. Alaska being the biggest. Alaska's a state I wouldn't mind seeing actually. Now that I think about it, I wouldn't mind going to see Alaska. Be interesting, be freezing, but no, I wouldn't mind it. Be interesting. Alaska might be a fun state to see. But that's it. That's absolutely it. AJ hits Jake like Ngannou. AJ is gonna if he hits him like he hits Ngannou, oh boy. Interesting. AJ in Everlast. That's interesting. Using Everlast. I think they're the elite pro. Because AJ in his early career he used Grant and then he used Rival. And lately he's been using those, is it Leon gloves? Never seen AJ in a pair of Everlast. Never seen him in a pair of Everlast until now. That's interesting. Changing things up. He looks quite. I was going to say his legs looked a little bit slim there. Walking to the ring. Who's that? Man's walking to the ring with a rapper. But AJ, he looks calm. For me, I think AJ looks calm. If you remember AJ walking to the ring against Dubois, you could tell he was feeling that walk. You could tell he was feeling that ring walk. Dubois looked just stoic in that ring walk. He always does. It's Dubois. But you know what I mean? He just looks seek and destroy. Dubois. AJ in that ring walk just looked a bit all he really AJ going into the Ruiz fight, the first fight, he looked like a fish out of water going at that ring walk. He just looks normal there. And you could see AJ, like AJ in his eyes, everything. If that ring walk that he did for Ruiz, he did not look right at all. He really didn't look right in that ring walk. He just everything was off about him. He was messing with them. Everything looked off about him in that. Looks pretty calm there. Looks pretty okay there. Eddie and all white. Visit Montana, Tennessee, Arizona, And AK, I'm assuming AK is Arkansas. Um, Arizona, not really on my list to be honest with you. Tennessee, maybe. Montana, eh. Yeah, I'd say the scenery in Montana be stunning, but I don't know. It's not a state that really is on my radar. Arkansas, that's where Elvis is from, isn't it? Originally, I think Elvis was born in Arkansas. Pretty sure. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Elvis was born in Arkansas. But and so was Bill Clinton actually. But that's it. Can you give us a ding ding so I can? What I'll probably do is I'll probably turn the volume on briefly when the first bell goes, so you'll know it then. Is Usek there? I don't know. Oh my God, he's wearing the Hulkamania. I wonder is he going to act? I wonder is he going to play Real American as his ring walk? I want to see if they're going to play Real American. Sounds like they're booing. Yeah, he's using Hulk Hogan's theme song. Listen, no way. He's using Hulk Hogan's theme song. Oh no, he's not. I was expecting to hear Hulk Hogan's music play because that intro was Hulk Hogan's intro. I was fully expecting to hear it, Hulk Hogan's entrance music, but we ain't getting it. No, we ain't getting it. I was fully expecting to hear it when it comes crashing down. Nope, no, we're not getting it. I legit thought we were getting Hulk Hogan's entrance music. Man, I can't believe they have AJ walking first in the ring. What? If you're Anthony Joshua, seriously, just think about it like this, right? Just humor me, right? Your last fight was in Wembley Stadium. You walked in second, even though you weren't the champion. And yeah, you lost in front of the 90,000 fans. Here you are walking in first, and you're viewing that. You're viewing that, and that is your opponent. What must you be actually thinking? That's actually a crazy. That when you think about it, like that is kind of crazy when you think about it. It is kind of crazy. You're literally sitting there and you walk first, and you're like, "That's my opponent." My last opponent was Daniel Dubois for a world title in front of 90,000. This is my opponent. It is actually when you think about it like that, like you do kind of stop and think, well, hang on a minute. If that was me in that scenario where I was like, even if I lost, I'd be like, in the previous fight, you'd be thinking, I say, I fought a legit world champion in front of 90,000 fans, and look at that. I'd be like, that. We're in the wrong timeline. Honestly, like, I mean, 10 years ago, I wasn't doing videos 10 years ago, but 10 years ago, if so, when AJ fought Dylan White, it's 10 years since AJ fought Dylan White. It's hard to believe, but it is. If you had said to anyone that Jake Paul, AJ, 10 years later would be fighting one another on Netflix, and that Alexander Usyk was two-time undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, you just, boxing over the last decade, if you think about it, it's just been so, in a good way, but it's been so strange. Like boxing has been extremely strange. Steve Weisfeld's one of the judges. Okay, he's a good judge. To be fair. So here we are. Christopher Young is the referee. We're in the wrong timeline. Thought it was Italian before. No, no, no. I knew that was the knew as soon as I seen it. I was like, that's the Nigerian flag. AJ representing Nigeria, of course. UK and Nigeria all the way. Actually, it is. Again, I'm gonna say I don't have the big fight feel, but when I look at this, I'm just like, this is actually happening. You're looking at them in the ring and you're just thinking, you're looking at that and you're just thinking, this is actually legitimately happening. Like AJ is being introduced, not against Fury. I hope he'll be introduced against Fury in the coming year. But you look at this, you're thinking, this is actually happening. And it's packed in there. Look at it, it's packed. Damn. Do you want to know the real sad part? And I mean this. This is quite sad when you think about it. That arena probably sold out 10 times faster than Shakur and Tio in MSG. I don't even know if that's sold out yet, but that probably sold like that. And Shakur and Tio's, well, it's not sold out. Eddie's face looks. If AJ loses, Eddie's face is just going to be priceless. Bad for boxing, but here we are. Would love to see the. Honestly, man, that Eddie's face if AJ loses. Could you imagine? That would be something else. I still can't believe Jake Paul's wearing the Hulk Hogan colors. Hulkamania. Oh, I never want to see them. If never want to see him if he gets beat. Well, you can forget the Tyson Fury fight. It ain't happening. If he loses this fight, the Tyson Fury fight is gone. Like, it's gone. Like that. It's like that scene out of South Park with the banker. Well, that's a nice fight there, Tyson Fury. We're just going to pencil that in for December the 19th, 2026. And it's gone. It's gone. That'll be literally it. It'd be like that. It'd be like that scene in South Park with the banker. Eddie doesn't care. Oh, yeah, he's going to make an absolute. I think that is one thing about Eddie when he knows. I think Eddie, if he knows there's still miles in the clock, if there's still money to be made and you lose, yeah. But if he knows, all right, I'm cashing you out, he ain't going to give a damn. A big up to my man Adam for the £50. Mate, you lock in just as we're about to commentate on this spectacle of a fight. Big up G Man a year ago, as much as everyone hates Jake, we got to admit he managed to hustle himself into an AJ fight for multi millions. I mean, in fairness, you got a point. I mean, I think I was listening to Hatman stream today when someone asked him, has anyone with the lack of talent that Jake has for boxing made the kind of money from a commercial standpoint? And the reality is no. What he's done is unheard of with the lack of talent to make the money he's made. It's unheard of. So we're gonna sync up and I can't believe this, man. We're commentating on this. I can't believe this. Let's go. Let's go. Seconds out. Here we go. AJ versus Paul. Holy mother of God. Here we are. AJ versus Jake Paul. I can't believe we're seeing this. Yeah, Jake Paul is keeping a distance. Yeah, he is moving all around the ring straight away. I would be hesitant about even taking a step in. There's the first jab from me. I'm even moving for him. There's the first jab from AJ. And Jake Paul, he's gonna, he felt that on the arm. And that's just a flick and jab by AJ. Yeah, he does not want to engage with him at all. Tries a little feint there. That jab's nowhere near him. So you're miles. See, here we are straight off the bat. You're miles away from him, even with that jab. Man, this looks actually scary, the size difference. And there's the first little attack from Jake Paul, but that jab had nothing on it. And you do not want to be backing up to the ropes. Now, what AJ is doing there is he's just keeping his distance, just letting that jab flow to the body. AJ is not stupid. Oh, wow. That left hook was very close to Jake Paul. You can see it in his face. That if that left hook had landed, would have been all she wrote then and there. So Jake Paul literally just keeping his distance, and he is keeping a distance. Like AJ needs to take a half step in. He takes a half step in. There's a right hand from Jake Paul blocked by AJ. To be fair, he's actually being more active so far in this round too. AJ misses with the left hook there. AJ bringing the left hook back into play, which is something that we haven't seen much from him. In terms of ring rust, we're not really going to know anything. I mean, AJ, he's just barely popping that jab out, and oh wow, okay, little WWE style, bringing both guys down. I'm surprised he was even able to bring AJ down with that. To be fair, I thought he was actually going to charge in there. Do not charge in, Jake Paul, whatever you do. because AJ has the guard up. He's got that. I like that. Leaving the little jabbing hand out there, just ready to set up a right hand if he needs to. And Jake Paul, that's a good little slip by Jake Paul. Gets under the jab, little body, little jab to the. What the hell? I thought it looked like he was going to try and body slam him there. Looks like he got his hand, like that. AJ, I think you could potentially just even double up on that jab, AJ. Just take a half step in, double up on that jab, and you pretty much got him. Because that jab from Jake Paul is wild. Like it actually landed. You can't really say it's a scoring shot, but it did land because it's kind of more an open fist, a bit like what Fury does. Here's the first real right hand. Jake Paul would have felt that on the side of his chest as he continues to move around the ring. He is really not wanting to get in there, but what he's done there is a problem. There's the first meaningful right hand that goes in. It's partially blocked, but that's probably the hardest shot Jake Paul has ever been hit with. Even though it was blocked, the first meaningful right hand that AJ was able to get through with. And already he's able to get through the first round. In fairness, if he gets through the next 10 seconds, Ngannou was dropped in the first round against AJ. Look at that jab. That jab is just to the chest is after moving Jake Paul straight across the ring. First round ends. I mean, you've got to give it to AJ, but I could see judges giving that round to Jake Paul. I could genuinely see judges giving that round to Jake Paul because AJ's barely threw anything. He did throw, they were blocked. He was barely hit, and is that Igor, who is the member of Team Usyk, giving AJ the instructions in the corner? It's weird. It's weird. See, first it was Ben Davis. Well, last it was Ben Davis, and then it was Derek James, Robert Garcia. It's weird. But yeah, you could probably give that round. I'm giving that round to AJ, but you could maybe give it to Jake Paul. Maybe, if you were generous. I wouldn't say AJ looks bad. We saw Jake Paul win a round. You probably, yeah, you could argue. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not going to, nothing happened in that round. You could maybe, because Jake Paul did throw a couple of shots, and I think one or two of them got through. There was not much on them. But you could probably give that round to Jake Paul. Seriously, you could probably give that, seriously, probably give it to Jake Paul. Round two underway, people. Round two underway. All right, AJ starting off actually quicker in this round. Straight off the bat, you can see it. Needs to come out. Not got the guard up as high. Got that jab in hand to go. Yeah, and Jake Paul still moving around the ring. Still just making sure he. Oh, it was a good body shot by Jake Paul, and AJ actually missed with the right hand. He actually got a body shot in and almost got lost in the ropes there, Jake Paul. But again, right hand goes in by AJ, partially blocked. The only scoring shot of this round so far. We're only 30 seconds in. It's gone to Jake Paul. Very low punch output, which is whoa. That was a swing and a miss by AJ, which is rare for an 8 rounder. Bear in mind, this is an 8 rounder. You normally see the tempo of an 8 rounder a lot faster than this. Both guys have thrown very few punches. I wonder what way the Netflix team scored the first round. That's going to be interesting because they were showing there's a lead left hook by Jake Paul actually does land on Anthony Joshua. Jab to the body by Anthony Joshua. A bit more activity in this round, it has to be said. Jake Paul still moving all around the ring. Misses those jabs from Anthony Joshua. There's definitely a lack of snap in that jab, certainly. There's a lack of snapping at that. You can see that straight away. He's really just chucking that jab out there. There's no chance it's going to land or it's going to do any damage, but he's just chucking it out, I don't know, for the sake of it. And Jake Paul is actually outworking. Well, I say outworking. I mean, there's not much to work where it is. It's not like it's being fought at a frantic pace, but he is actually getting more shots off. And those jabs are blocked. Take them on the arm by Jake Paul. Double up on the jab there. That's actually what AJ needs to do. Because you see that as soon as he doubled up on it, it actually gave him a chance. He could have actually threw a right hand down the pipe there, but that was a body shot that went in from Jake Paul. AJ missed with the left hook. Jake Paul able to see that coming. And actually moving around the ring not too bad. Like it is. This is why I said if you move around the ring like that, you can offset AJ, but he does take a stiff jab there from Anthony Joshua. He definitely felt that one as both guys end up in a clinch with a minute to go in round number two. People, there's 480 in the building. If you haven't already, hit the like and hit the subscribe button. He's doing better than I can give him credit for. Like we're 45 seconds to go in round number two. He's doing better than Ngannou was at this point. I think Ngannou was already knocked out at this point. AJ missing again with the jab, and that was a stationary Jake Paul again. That was very strange. Very, very strange. You just need to double up on that. And he is trying to get, he's got a target there who's moving all around the ring. So he is struggling to pin him down. But he's not doing too bad. And in terms of, again, clean scoring shots, Jake Paul's got through, I think, with just slightly more. I'm not even being funny. Would how all right, that was good work from AJ. Lands a body shot there. So that's a good way to end the round, and that's probably going to give him the round, that little combination at the end. But he's doing better than I would have given him credit for. So a lot of people, I think Ade was saying it's going to be AJ in two. He's made it past two. AJ isn't looking good. People are saying this is scripted. It doesn't look scripted to me. It looks like Jake Paul is just moving around the ring. And AJ is just thinking about, okay, if he loops in with a big shot, what do I do? And I got to try and just keep him at bay. I think he needs to as I said, take a half step in, double up on the jab, and just double up on the jab, take a half step in, boom, right hand behind it. He is trying to bring the hook in, which we don't not normally see from AJ. Well, certainly since the Barkle against what's his name, AJ looks mad. I think it's just the fact. Let's have a look at this replay. So there's, oh wow, so he misses with that right hand. Now again, that's Jake Paul seeing it coming and just moving with the tongue out. Jake Paul with the tongue out. That's crazy. Can't believe we're in round number three. Can't believe we're in round number three. And you could have, okay, round number three is underway. That started quick. More the same by Jake Paul. With three round. And he lands a couple of jabs on Anthony Joshua. Seriously. What are we seeing here? And now they're in it. I thought that left hook was going to get through. It didn't. And he is getting closer and closer with that left hook. Yeah, the unofficial scorecard has a 2 rounds to zip for Anthony Joshua, which is about fair. You might give Jake Paul a share of the first round. Leads with a left hook there. The fans are actually jumping up out of their seat, led with it. There was nothing on it. It's not going to bother Anthony Joshua, but the fact that he led with that, was able to land something, that's actually crazy. There's a big right hand from Anthony Joshua that went in. It was blocked, but I think Jake Paul felt that. He definitely felt it. Goes straight into a clinch. We've got 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go in round number 3. Now it's starting to catch fire. Because now we've only got 5 rounds left after this. Remember, it's an 8-rounder. This is a scheduled 8-rounder. It's not a 12. It's not a 10. So they need to get a move on now. You lose some rounds early. Jake Paul nearly fell over himself there. AJ thrown a lot more punches, 47. A lot of them wasteful shots, it has to be said. Like, Jake Paul looking to land an uppercut there. He did actually kind of graze him with it. Nothing much on it, but the fact he's actually trying in there. And AJ, yes, with the significantly higher punch output, but the land percent, he gets hit with a jab up close. He walked right into that. Holy crap. This isn't a good look from Anthony Joshua. He walked right into a jab. No defense there, very lax. Didn't have much on it. And there's a body shot up close. And look at that now, AJ, with the combinations up close. This is inside fighting, Jake Paul. It's allowed. I can't believe what I'm seeing. People, I wouldn't say he's cooking them, but the fact that he's still in it and he's actually landed a couple of shots on Anthony, this is incredible to think of. When you think about when I say established fighters, but people who, like, what was the guy's name he knocked out in a round for the British title? The Scottish guy. He's doing better than him. That was 10 years ago. That was a much greener AJ. And Jake Paul, my guy's doing better than that guy. What was his name? Punches landed in this round. 5 thrown, 3 landed. Wow. It's 5 punches thrown from Jake Paul, landed 3. 22 punches thrown by AJ, only 6 landed. He is wasting some shots. He is. But Jake Paul, to his credit, defensively, he's not too bad. Like, look, that's not bad, to be fair. 20 seconds to go in round number 3. I can't believe this. I actually can't believe what I'm seeing. We're going into the 4th round, unless something dramatic happens. I want to see a replay of that jab that Jake Paul landed, and a little shot to the back of the head as both guys end up in a clinch. This is insanity what we're seeing here. I mean, like, he's not winning, but still, Danny has a 3-zip to Jake. I don't think so. Gary Cornish, thank you. That was the guy. Jake Paul's done better than him. Jake Paul has done better against Anthony Joshua than Kevin Johnson did. Kevin Johnson, the former world title challenger. Who else? He's done better than Ngannou. I mean, there's Russ Amber. Russ Amber in AJ's corner as well. Sarah has Jake Paul ahead. 2-1 to Jake Paul. This is You think AJ's holding back? I don't know, man. I want to see this jab again. Look at that. I actually can't believe he landed that. Even Nikita there with the big smile at ringside. You see him there when that jab went in? And yeah, AJ just ends up, he does the frustration there. You can see it. And 640 in the building. If you haven't already, hit the like and hit subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the commentary. It means the world. Round 4 is underway. We're halfway there, lads. We're halfway there. And Jake Paul's still here. Still moving. He walked into that jab all right, though. It's probably the first meaningful jab AJ's landed. Oh, that was a big right hand that went through by Jake Paul there. And that's not a knockdown. A referee should be having words with Jake Paul over that, to be fair. Although the unofficial scorecard gave the last round to AJ. Interesting. So Netflix have it a clean sweep for Anthony Joshua. But bear in mind, right? No one's expecting Jake Paul to win this fight. He landed a big right hand there. Landed a jab there. What the hell? I actually thought AJ was stunned there. Like, wow. The fact that he nearly stunned AJ there is like, wow. And yeah, referee rightly. I was going to say, don't dock him a point now. It's too soon. But yeah, wow. The fact that man nearly stunned AJ. What the hell? Wow. Tyson Fury is going to have a field day over this. Like, he is going to have an absolute field day over this, Tyson Fury will. Damn. Punches thrown, 28 by Jake Paul, 69 for Anthony Joshua in an 8-rounder, 14-10. So Jake Paul, actually, if you look at the punch stats, will be landing at a much higher percentage ratio than Anthony Joshua. Much higher. This is insanity. Misses with a big right hand. That was a big right hand that Anthony Joshua threw with good defense by Jake Paul there. 1:20 to go. Whoa, that's not a knockdown. And that's not a knockdown, but that's not Jake Paul. That's not his fault. I think that happens. Yeah, referee right. That's not a knockdown. 1:10 to go in round 4. Jake Paul's actually got through with some shots on AJ in this round. It's insane. AJ looking to set that right hand up, but Jake Paul sees it coming. As much as Jake Paul is telegraphing his right hand, AJ, oh, that was an uppercut that went in. Got through Jake Paul. As much as Jake Paul telegraphs it, AJ's doing the same here. Jake Paul's seeing it coming. He's getting through there. Like, he actually backs AJ up with the jab there. AJ needs to be a bit more aggressive. I know he's not. Whoa. Now, referee might actually be having what happened. I think the referee is going to dock a. Is he going to dock a point from Jake Paul, or what's going to happen? Surely not. What's going on here? All right, he's up. He's complaining of an injury. What on earth? Referee, I would imagine, is going to dock a point. You would think, is he? No, he's giving Jake Paul time. What's going to happen? Okay. Let's have a look at what happened here. So he's giving Jake Paul time. So AJ steps in. Jake Paul looks to land an uppercut. Okay, yeah, he was using the forearm to get him down, but Jake Paul and AJ, his knee would have landed probably on his neck, it looks like, but nothing crazy, you'd imagine. And they look like they're good to go. All right, last 30 seconds of round 4. Jake Paul probably looking to just catch a breather, to be honest with you, because he is using a lot of energy. He leads with the left hook there. Yo, how is he getting through with these shots? Like, this is crazy. There's that a knockdown. That was a knockdown. That looked like a no. Referee not going to rule it a knockdown. Didn't look it though. Docking a point. No. Yes. This is messy. Okay, he's not docking a point because this is getting messy now. All right, it's little 7 seconds to go in this round, so it's done. But that was a messy round. Can't believe Jake Paul actually got through with some shots. And Jake Paul is literally going to just stay away for the next like 3 seconds. The bell's going to end now. Yeah, there it is. Wow. Like, what the? We're this far in. It's an Olympic gold medalist. It's an Olympic. Yeah, it's not exactly setting the world alight. I'd agree with you on that. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Hey, Jake Paul's not winning this. But and thank you, by the way, if you haven't already. If you are enjoying the live commentary, again, I would encourage you to hit subscribe. We're only 25 subs off 28,400, so please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it. But wow, we're going into round 5. People in the chat, like, wow. You know Tyson Fury is going to have an absolute field day with AJ over this. Like, if it ends now in this round, it doesn't matter. I think Fury's going to have an absolute field day. The fact that it's been as competitive as it is, round 5 underway. And both guys come out in this round. AJ straight away with the jab and Jake Paul straight into a clinch. The referee will have to break him because the hands are tied up there. But this is insanity. Yeah, Jake Paul not able to get under AJ's jab there. The fact of the matter is, right, and they gave that round, so the unofficial scorers gave that last round to Jake Paul. Unbelievable. Dominic Brazil was undefeated when he fought Anthony Joshua. He didn't win a round. And he went 7 rounds. Right hand landed at the top of AJ's head, and AJ really, now that, again, no, what the, this getting messy now. This getting very messy. The referee has to have a word with Jake Paul. I know in an 8-rounder you don't want to be docking points, and they're not going to probably do it in a Jake Paul fight. But the falling down is getting a bit ridiculous now. That was a huge right hand that he threw at AJ, and he landed. Oh my God, did he? No, I can't believe he got through with that right hand. I'm just looking. Oh my God, people, this is. He actually got through with a right hand, and I don't know if it didn't stun him, but he felt it. AJ, what are you doing in here, man? What is going on? Another right hand goes in. Oh, and that backed Jake Paul up, but oh wow, did he hurt his knee? Is he injured? What happened? Whoa, is he injured? Did he favor? That's a knockdown. Referee calls that a knockdown. So Jake Paul is down, first count of his career. Is he injured? What's happening here? Looked like he was favoring the ankle, but the referee calls that a knockdown. So this is going to be a 10-8 round to AJ. So this will see him over the line, certainly. I was like, well, what was going on there? But referee called that one a knockdown. Whoa, he is swinging with that right hand now. Oh, there's the right hand goes in. That's a knockdown. I think the beginning of the end, man. Down again. Referee administering a count. There's 50 seconds to go here in round number 5. One more knockdown, they might call it. They might very well call it. AJ going to go for the kill. He's always been a good finisher, Anthony Joshua. Always. He is going to go for the kill now. And Jake Paul might see him start swinging a bit more. Don't turn away from your opponent, mate. You turn your head away from Anthony Joshua when he's in range. That's a novice thing to do. And he landed a big right hand. You can see the sweat flying from Anthony Joshua there. Every time he throws a right hand, I'm just thinking, oh my God, is something going to happen here? This is I actually can't believe this. And there's 10 seconds to go in round number 5. AJ, 2 knockdowns, that's it. In an 8-rounder, 2 knockdowns, you would imagine that's it. Jake Paul backed up to the corner, gets hit with a left hook, stands on his feet. Wow, it took AJ this long to get through. God damn. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just finish him off. Are they going to pull are they pulling him? No. No, they're giving him a pec talk. Man. I see the first knockdown. Body shots go in. Yeah, they hurt him, definitely, those body shots. You could tell. Lands a big right hand, gets hit with a hook, and then he appears to, legs kind of go a bit. That hook definitely went in. And yeah, that looked like a dubious knockdown, to be fair. The second one was more legit. Do you know what? Yeah, no. When you look at it like that, no, that was legit. That was a knockdown. That was a knockdown. Shots got through. But the fact he's able to land shots like that on Anthony Joshua, oh crap. Round number 6 is now underway. Now, you would imagine that this is the end. Surely AJ is going to finish it off from here. Surely, you would imagine. That's a 10-7 round in an 8 rounder. That's usually curtains. AJ now with the aggression. Right hand goes in. Jake Paul able to get that jab going again, but he looks knackered. He looks absolutely knackered in there. You'd imagine it's only that's it. Yeah, like that was a grazing shot. Jake Paul goes down. Another count. You'd imagine the writing's on the wall. It's done. It's over. Now, I said something like this would happen, that he'll just look for the canvas. I think he's doing it. I would imagine the next knockdown, the referee will probably just call it. It looks like it's going to be curtains for Jake Paul now in round number 6. The fact he's got this far is just phenomenal. Like it really is. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Oh, yeah. The fact we're getting this far, like right hand uppercut, that was a big uppercut that went in. AJ really sticking the tongue out still, but it's getting real now, Jake Paul. It's getting very real. A minute and 50 to go. AJ needs to just put it on him, because there's no snapping any of Jake Paul's shots, so you just need to worry about what's coming back. Like, look at that. The snap is gone. There you go. Hooks go in. Uppercut. That was a big hook. Referee. Oh, that was a big right hand. Down goes Jake Paul again. That's it. That's it. It's done. Referee, I would imagine, is going to call it. If not, the towel's going to get thrown in. That's it. It's over. Jake Paul stopped by Anthony Joshua in 6 rounds. Boy, did AJ not look good in there. Man, if I was AJ, I would not be. I can see he's not celebrating. I wouldn't be celebrating if I was Anthony Joshua. I wouldn't be celebrating that. I wouldn't be celebrating that. Whoa. Wow. Wow. I mean, what do you even say? It didn't look staged to me. In terms of Jake Paul, I think he could have got up. I don't think he was that badly hurt. I just think he was tired. He knew he wasn't going to win this fight, so easier to do it like that. But wow, I can't believe he was as competitive as he was. Like, he definitely won rounds in there. Like, that's crazy. AJ back to winning ways, I guess, against Jake Paul. Damn. Oh man, this was what do you even say about this, huh? Like, what what do you even say about this, man? I I'm speechless. But people, I'm going to record a post-fight review. Thank you all for tuning in to this live. It's been one of the more interesting ones that we've done. If you could hit the like button, hit subscribe still. Yeah, I'm only 24 subs off. I'm only 24 subs off 28,400. So if you haven't already, please do consider hitting the like button and subscribe. And the 650 plus that are still here, I will talk to you in about 10-15 minutes. I'm going to do a post fight review. Oh, we're going to dissect this. Until then, leave a like, hit subscribe. Stay tuned for the post fight review coming up momentarily. Well, people, thank you all, though, for locking in. It's been an interesting live, to say the least. It's been very, very interesting, to say the least. And I'm just trying to see if I can even get back in. Yeah, I will call it for now. Thank you, people. I appreciate it. Wow. Yeah, that was crazy. Peace.